Greetings, Battle Brothers. It's me, Aurelia, Tempris, defender of the Golden Throne and servant of humanity. Welcome in, welcome in. We are gonna go through the reveals from GW for the summer. I'm so sorry. I meant to start this earlier. Oh my goodness. In any case, welcome in, welcome in. We'll get things. Let me actually set up the next screen. Okay. We're gonna play the fun game of where I have to fiddle with all the settings every time we watch something. So I will be fiddling with the desktop audio as we go. It's gonna be muted right now. One moment. I'm toggling things on and off. Okay. Hi, welcome in, welcome in. Yes, this is gonna be good. I don't have any predictions as of yet, but I hope Custodes, because you know they hinted at it. Allegedly, there's been maybe some leaks. Don't forget to scream. Well, no, I'm not doing any mic changes. It's just desktop stuff. Desktop stuff. Let's see. I'm really nervous because it's quiet right now, but I fear it is going to get very, very loud. I'm also going to be... Oh,
hello, everybody, and
begins.
welcome. We are very excited to welcome you today to the big summer Warhammer preview. My name is Adam Troke. I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Eddie Eccles, and it is our delight to host this show.
Yeah, very exciting. We have a big preview today.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of Warhammer. We've got stuff from all sorts of different settings, from Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, some Horus Heresy in the mix there as well. There's a little bit of something for everybody, it's fair to say.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Let's talk about how it's going to work a little bit. If you're new, maybe this is your first Warhammer preview you've joined in. We are your hosts, but we are not alone. We have the excellent Simon Grant over there in Question Corner. Simon, what are you doing today?
Hey folks, welcome to the show. I'm going to be fielding questions on behalf of Eddie and Adam. So if you do have any questions that you'd like to ask them, please start your question with
I can't wait to be disappointed again. Oh my gosh. Kind of real though.
And I will do my best to track them, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity later on in the show to ask Eddie and Adam those questions.
Perfect, thanks Simon. We're going to be taking some breaks throughout the sort of proceedings to try and field a few of those questions. We have a lot of content.
I was like, you're going to give us ads?
I think we're going to be here for between an hour and 90 minutes if we go fast. So bear with us and we'll do our best. We're aware the chat is still filling up. There's people.
Good thing I'm eating right now.
The world. So the first thing I'd like to do is throw a question out there, maybe get you involved, which is let us know where in the world you're from.
Wow,
do it every
I
time,
didn't think this one would be so long, but
while you start punching in your
hopefully they don't like torture us.
I've got a question for you, Eddie. Done any hobby lately?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Adam. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of Horus Heresy hobby.
Very nice. You said you were going to.
I did, and I did. So I've got some white scars on my table at the moment, got them all sprayed up, and I've started painting a jet bike, but using some of the Horus Heresy transfers on the side, so it looks very nice.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to getting some of those done. I've also got some Space Wolves. I bought the new Space Wolf box. Like a lot of people, very excited by the new Space Wolf army as well.
It's very, even as a dark.
No, they showed an hour and a half.
Box. I think that has brought a lot of people to Fenris, that particular box set. How about yourself? Have you been doing any cool
I'm
Warhammer?
Glad you asked. The short answer is yes. I bought myself some new a new kill team. I went for the Hernkin yesterday.
Pixar, it didn't happen. Prove it. Let me see your paint skills.
Things from my main army. The other thing, it's only went to the Throne of Skulls with my good friend Damien O'Byrne, and we brought home a gold medal, which was super fun to play so many games of the Middle-earth Strategy Battle game together with so many lovely. Huge shout out, I met a father and son team who'd flown all the way across to join in from the US, and they're now hiking, backpacking around the mountains somewhere
an unexpected
in Spain.
journey.
Literally. Tremendous. So I hope you get to tune in wherever you are. It was really fun. Thank you to all my opponents who played and then thought I wasn't such a horrible person to play with. Always nice.
Sorry, I had to grab my water.
All over the place. It's wonderful. So we've got folks from Australia, Canada, USA, Spain, pretty much all over the globe. Someone's claiming they're even from Caliban. I'm not sure the truth of that one.
Only the very best among us could possibly come from such an estimable place. Awesome. Right. So, as I said before, we've got about 90 minutes worth of like wall-to-wall Warhammer content in this big summer Warhammer
I'm a
preview.
little worried.
We should probably look to begin.
Yeah, let's get stuck in, shall we?
Right, so Raph, punch the first video.
So just before we go in, the new guy, he's a little bit peculiar, but just bear with, okay?
Okay, cool.
Everyone was wanting this. Okay, but I do like the way these look. Thrice devoured. I need more lore on that.
Just two little dudes on a road trip.
What an incredible set of reveals for the Leagues of Votan.
Yeah, so this is the largest release for the Leagues of Votan since the initial release
Yeah,
of
I
the
want to
army.
know.
This is a huge expansion, all in plastic for that force. There is new heavy infantry. There's some new artillery. There's loads of
They
new,
look
really
kinda tall,
characterful
but I think that's
characters
just
added to
the way they
army.
had
There's some
the-
new vehicles, all sorts of stuff. So there's the kind of shot of the full army there. But let's take a closer look at some of the specific
Sorry,
models.
I know
specific
very
units
little
being
about the
added into force.
Votan.
We'll start with the Arcanist Evaluator.
Yeah, so
I forget his
within the
name.
Leagues of
He
Votan,
looks like
they're
the
not
villain
afraid
from
of
Sonic.
developing technology
I think
and
Egghead,
expanding
right?
their understanding. And so an Arcanist Evaluator is kind of aside from the ordinary kin within sort of the war bands that operate. He's a member of the science guilds that are responsible for new technologies, and he brings to battle an experimental weapon in the sort of closing phases of development. This is a transmatter inverter.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, it's got 4 fire modes.
Matter
and on the highest
inverter.
one, it literally triggers lethal atomic transformations. What that means is death.
Yeah, so he's taken out his new experimental weapon basically to the battlefield to see if it is, as he suspects, powerful enough to melt Space Marines, tanks, or Tyranid monsters, whatever he happens to come up against.
Pretty much yes to the
Pretty
above.
much yes to all of the above.
Thank you. I
He's
didn't
not
watch
part
a lot
the
of
official
Sonic.
Sort of Leagues of Votan military hierarchy, so he doesn't join
His
your
gun
units
is
necessarily, but he kind of
interesting.
hangs around in your army next to them,
Yeah.
and he's got kind of lone operative ability if he's near your infantry, that sort of thing. But a very useful, characterful little model to add into your Leagues of Votan force, and a nice way of kind of showing the
comments,
some of
the
kind of lore
comments
and
are saying
culture of the
Eggman.
army as
Oh
well
my
for the Leagues of
gosh.
Votan.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a glimpse behind
In the
sort
live
of
stream
curtain,
comments,
isn't it?
they're
You
saying
can see some really
Eggman
cool
too.
things, that sort of key into that. He's got these optics on his weapon.
Dude, that's
Almost like
hilarious.
he's
I'm
got
glad I'm not the only
recording
one.
The data from the results.
That's a very cool head as well, kind of mad scientist vibe going on.
Yeah, and if you wanted to, there's a
No.
separate, a different head. That you can
Andres,
have
it
with
looked
his
like he
helmeted
did
or
have, like,
his
a-
fancy some health and safety
a Tyranid
protocols,
carapace or something.
That's the way to go. Next up, my absolute standout favourite. This is the thing that made me march into Warhammer World yesterday and buy some Leagues of Votan models for myself. The Memnir Strategist. He is an Ironkin. Those of you who are fans of the League of Votan.
Look,
will
he got
understand that
grippers,
the
guys. He
Ironkin
got
are-
grippers. The important
Abominable
part.
intelligences.
Well, not in their mind, but they're artificial intelligences which.
This isn't my
they hold
vibe, but I
equal
do like the
position within
details on the
Votan
coat.
society. There's a CU unit inside of each of them, and that's sort of within that iron dome that is normally his head. The first really cool thing about this model is that you see the little noodly things that are on. In the Imperium, you call them mechadendrites, right? These cables that come out of him. Each of those is an additional CU unit. So he is the combined intelligence of multiple Ironkin, essentially. And he uses that to enormous effect in terms of strategy and tactics on the battlefield, directing the efforts of the kin around him. It keys into a role as well.
He does have the trade deal pose, you're
which we'll
correct.
talk a little bit more about later. And most importantly, he looks amazing.
It's a very, very cool miniature, isn't it? Really characterful. It's, I think also got some spare arms on the front
Yeah,
there, which is holding onto
bonus
his
arms.
holding onto his little data pad. He's tapping away on there, giving orders to all the various kin and Leagues of Votan units.
What an
across the
interesting
battlefield.
trade. Extra
And
arms
his main
instead
pair
of-
arms,
Oh,
he's used
never
to
mind.
sort of hold
Never
in his
mind.
contemplative states, which is the exact pose that I have when I'm considering my movement phase in Warhammer
Exactly.
40,000.
And if you want to dazzle your friends with some knowledge, the array he's got on his back is called a cognitar mantle, and that's where he gets like his extra brain power from. Really sensational. Speaking of Ironkin, these are a new unit of Ironkin. They are called the Steeljacks. 2 types of metal in one name. Eddie, what's the story?
Yeah, so this is the Ironkin Steeljacks. They are a specialist kind of more warrior type of Ironkin. A lot of the Ironkin are fairly
The way they have this
helpful. They're kind of
they
default
feel normal
sheath
to level
placed,
society.
default.
it's not
status
really
of sort of,
ideal for
friendly,
pulling out a
affable,
knife. If I'm
helpers
being
for the
particularly
Legion of
honest,
Votan
but I
game.
know
These are a much
I'm
more
also
warlike
being
programming,
picky.
So they march out actively into battle, seeking conflict.
I don't like this one as much.
In very large suits of armor, so they stand kind of almost twice the height of a kin or a League of Votan
Like,
warrior, and they have got some
that's a
pretty
weird way to
decent
pull
weaponry as well. You can
a knife
kit them
out.
out in a variety of different ways. You can either go combat leaning. This is an example there.
I
or you
like
can
the
have,
power fist one
concussion
better,
fists and,
personally.
Bolt guns, or you can go with a ranged option. In game
Dude,
terms, they work a little bit like
Votan,
Wraithguard, I suppose, is the
they're
closest
kind of in
approximate, so
defeat.
very
Most of the
durable
models
unit,
have like metal
quite
toes.
powerful weaponry. Very
Like,
good
is
for
that
doing
just
things
me?
Like moving on to an objective.
I
and
don't
trying
think
to
that's
hold
just
onto
me.
it, and fighting off enemy counterattacks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, in real terms, heavily armed, heavily armored, extremely dangerous unit. You can see the leader in the squad. As you look
It's
at his
just
pictures,
me.
like the
That,
trademark
look, I
crest
didn't
which
make
sort of rises
these.
above his head.
I didn't
There
make
we go in the
these.
background.
I'm just
He's got a
telling
plasma
you.
sword. Guy on the front's got a
I'm looking at the
concussion
whole
fist.
mini. I don't just look at the
Great new
face.
addition to the Leagues of Votan army, I think it's fair to say.
I also
We're
didn't
not
like
done.
that one as
There's
much.
more.
Felt like it
and
left a lot to be
Chthonian
desired, in my
Earthshake
opinion.
channels some
But
really
I'm not a
strong
Votan
energy from
player.
That sort of rogue trader era. Do you remember mole mortars for squat
Very
armies?
well, yes.
Right, see, what
So
face? There's not
these
much
are
to
sort
look
of
at, in my
inverse
opinion.
artillery, in that rather than lobbing a shot high above the enemy, they fire those mole shells that you can see down at the bottom deep into the ground.
I would really
They
love
burrow
if
in
this
on the
part here
enemy
had a
emerge,
hinge,
get
and
a
you could like
trench line
open
a
and close
bunker,
it, but
just blow everyone to kingdom
that's
come.
definitely
Each one of these
not
is
possible.
a really lovely sort of dire armor in their own right as well. So you can see the kin there working with the Iron Kin, loading up the artillery. You can see one of them there with his little scanner, almost directing the mole as it kind of buries underground towards the enemy fortifications. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's a powerful piece in game. You've got all sorts of nice kind of ways that this will bolster your Leagues of Votan force, which at the moment maybe doesn't have a huge amount of very long range artillery. And yeah, I think it's a great kit, really.
Awesome. Speaking of the bigger models that are inside this launch, we have the Capricus. So the Capricus is one of those kits that makes two things. You can see here the Capricus Defender. We'll show you the Capricus Carrier in a minute. Essentially, it is either a sort of attack vehicle for the Hernkin, or it's a
I want to know
transport
what
vehicle.
makes it
They've
levitate.
got so this is
What's
this
the
is
science?
Carrier. So it's a smaller gun. It's got less other weapons on it, and you can see the stowage bag for the crew that will ride in the back. Whichever you take, essentially this is enabling your Hernkin to get around from A to B and hold the ground that they're taking.
Yeah,
But
so
how?
it adds a bit
What's
of
the
mobility
science?
into your Leagues of Votan force. It carries 5 models, so it works a little bit like the other kind of Leagues of Votan transports, where you pick one of your units. It can split into 2 groups of 5. 5 of them can ride around in one of these. If you've got 2 of the transports, you can obviously ride them around in 2 of the transports. And as you say, Adam, you can choose between
Grav
either having
repulsor?
the transport option, or you can just have all the guns
Okay.
and have a fast-moving fire support unit.
Yeah, for me this is stunning. This is what made me march off to Warhammer World yesterday and buy the Hernkin.
There's some really lovely little touches
Wait,
on
no,
this.
I
The
thought it
stowage
was
bags are really
Eggman
nice
that
at the
made
back.
you
I
march
like
off
that
to
you can build
Warhammer
this with
World.
2 Ironkin as
Or
well.
the
So if you want
tactical
an
guy.
Ironkin pilot and an Ironkin gunner, you can build them like that. Fans of Ironkin generally, there is a lot of Ironkin
Yeah, you've
in
done
this
quite well
Leagues
this
of
week.
Votan
Yeah,
release.
absolutely so. There's also a new combat patrol for the Leagues of Votan on the way. We're all familiar with combat patrols if we're familiar with Warhammer 40,000.
What is this fuzzy, grainy
It's a fantastic
image?
way to start an army. Or to bolster an
You
army if
guys
you've already
couldn't
got
take
one.
a
This
picture
one
of
really
this
focuses
guy
on
when
these
he was
sort of
closer?
tin bands that make up the mainstay of the Porsche. You've got the Thunderers in the back and the Hunt.
I'm sorry,
down in the
this one's
middle.
like nice and high
So,
definition. The
it's
one at the top,
just
it's
one
like
of the
they
ingredients
zoomed
to
in
bulk
because
out
they
for
forgot
us.
to take a
Yeah, there's some
picture.
really useful units in there as well. Like you don't tend to see a League of Votan army that doesn't have all of those units.
Yeah,
in.
there's no wastage there,
So
right?
it's all good stuff. A couple of boxes of
I
these
know
and
I
then a
shouldn't
couple of
ask
new
about the
units and
science,
you're-
but I
you've
wanna
got an
know.
army,
You're
basically.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And more
absolutely so.
detailed information than like Newton's second
onto,
law.
For many people's opinion, I expect the main event of this release.
I like this guy.
Is
He's
Buri
cool.
Egnisson. Eddie?
So Buri Egnisson is the last survivor of a Leagues of Votan
I like
clan
his
which has
spear.
been consumed by the
I would
encroaching
like it.
Tyranid menace. He is known as the Thrice Devoured. A Tyranid monster has actually eaten this guy.
Okay.
But that wasn't enough to keep him down. He clawed his way out of its gullet, climbed his way back out to safety 3 times, apparently.
Yep.
And now goes across the galaxy, across the kin
So,
warband.
question,
as
was
a
he
roving
eaten
Tyranid
3
killing
separate
specialist.
times,
Yeah,
or
absolutely. He's,
one
in terms
time-
of specialist, he is an absolutely
but he just couldn't
elite
get out
combat
2
unit.
of the times?
He's equipped with that Dark Star glaive, which you see there, which is called Bane.
I need information.
He's pure violence in melee form.
I think you're going to get a lot of this guy in armies. Because
And thank you,
rules are
Roselki, for the
very
gift sub.
He is. He's got a great combat stat line, but he's also a lone operative. So you can imagine this guy advancing either on his own or alongside, kind of behind your forces, and swooping in on the big enemy monsters and stuff that get forward to threaten your battle line.
Yeah, and his lore really comes into it. So he's a member of, well, he's the only member now of an organisation called the Emberg Aegnir Block, which is one of the leagues of Votan. Literally wiped out down to the very last kin, which is this guy. And so he's so bitter, his whole life is devoted now to just hunting down the Tyranid Menace and supporting other leagues to stop the same thing happening to them. And you see that played out on his model. He's got this sort of belt buckle, which very much looks like he's sort of taken some affectations from the Tyranids. He's got what looks like...
I was going to say he looks like a wrestling champion with that big belt.
I think it's a Tyranid Prime that he's got over the top of his head. Yeah. There's a nice little nod in this model as well to... There's like the idea at some point that the squats were eaten by the Tyranids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this guy kind of goes, well, yeah, they were eaten by the Tyranids, but also they clawed their way out again. So there is a little bit of truth to that sort of that outdated understanding maybe of what happened to that faction.
Fantastic. And all this obviously will be supported with Codex Leagues of Votan.
It does kind of look like a hedgehog.
Which contains, this is I've had quite a while to read this week. It's just full of spankingly good lore. It's got great rules.
Spankingly
and art.
good. I've never heard that before.
In terms of the rules,
spankingly
there's too
good,
much to
buddy.
go into in any real detail here. But a thing to cover would
He's
be
also the
yield
guy that
points, which is
howled
the
when the
sort of
Space Wolves
army-wide
came out.
mechanic which
Just so
underpins
you know.
Absolutely, yeah. So yield points effectively changes the way your army works over the course of the game, and it works in the way that the Leagues of Votan approach acquisition effectively. So early on in the game, when you haven't got very many yield points, you're getting bonuses for attacking enemy units on objectives for the most part across your army. And then later on, once you've acquired yield points, you get bonuses for having your own units on objectives. So they get better
Spankingly
at defending
good.
them,
Is that like
better bonuses for their own defense?
you're
that sort of
spanking
thing.
other
Yeah, so it
people, or you're
encourages you to play
spanking
in that
yourself?
very
Like,
sort
I
of,
feel like there should be some
acquisition-focused way that the
clarification
Leagues
on
of
this.
Votan work.
And it's a really great mechanic, right? Because it's exactly how you win games of Warhammer 40,000.
Is it like
Early
a
on,
knee
you kick people off
slapper type?
objectives. Later on, you hold
What
on
does
to the
that mean?
objectives. So,
Seems like
And
it
some
is
of
a
the
European
units that we've
term.
shown and some of the units
Yes,
that we already exist in
both.
Votan
What do you mean?
Now have rules that key into that. For example, the Memnir Strategist just lets you increase or decrease your yield score by 1 each turn.
Yeah.
So really sort of thoughtfully put in so this guy who's overseeing the total sort of tactical
like pinching yourself
function of the army
awake.
can just go nudge and help you out.
Yeah.
We should show some of the models.
Okay.
Let's do it, yeah.
So we've got some in front of us. We're very lucky to be allowed to put our paws on the heavy metal miniatures. So there'll be a bit of sort of scale comparison here, but here you can see this is the Arcanist, and then you've got the Memnir. They're like normal.
They're little
Votan
guys.
size. So any kin is about. The
I don't
same
know
sort of
why you would
proportion of
spank
those.
yourself.
And
I'm
you
just
can see
asking
just
because
how
there's plenty
sort
of options.
Much bigger.
Yeah, I was gonna say those
steel
guys
gaps
look
are.
tall. I was like, wait.
I think your comparison Eddie, that you made to compare them to Wraithguard is really quite fair.
Yeah, they're about
actually.
the same size as a Wraithguard. It's kind of in that ballpark of kind of medium heavy infantry. This is the new artillery piece. It's maybe not like as big as something like an Imperial Guard tank or something like that, but compact, mobile, that sort of thing, fitting in with the aesthetic of the rest of the Leagues of Votan. You can sort of imagine it starting life.
Yeah,
as
can we
piece
get
of
a
mining
Space Marine for
equipment, and they
scale?
sort of
I imagine the
evolved
Space
it
Marines are
into
closer
a
to
weapon.
You can definitely see
the
sort
height of the
some
ones on the
origins.
right.
I just want to draw some attention to some of the super cool bits on it. This guy here, you can see over his shoulder, he's got like a data slate. You've got this sort of, I don't know, like loading hatch that you can model open or closed. On this side, you've got a case which has.
I know
more
what
of the
they are.
shells.
They
You get
explain
spare
them, but
shells
I
put on
don't.
their own bases.
Votan's not my thing. If you
just a
ask
really
if
thoughtfully
I'm,
designed and very
don't get this the
exciting
wrong
kit.
way. If I'm a dwarf or an elf kind
we
of
should show
person, I'm
more
more of
though,
an
'cause
elf
this is
kind of
by no
person.
means the end of it.
But I'm
Absolutely,
still an
we've got
abhuman.
the Capricus
Just
here.
dwarves aren't
So,
my
let's
vibe.
make some
They're not my
space
vibe.
on
Never
the table
have
so we
been.
can have a look at this guy. So this is your
My
new,
first crush was Legolas from Lord of the Rings, so I feel like that tells you enough.
This is the Defender pattern, which is the gun version. And as you can see there, there's a little bit of space, not quite enough space for transport on this one, but there is one which is a transport vehicle. But I really like the Ironkin on this. Is actually
He's got like a tiny little chair.
He's quite small, yeah, because they wouldn't fit a full-sized kin in there, so they've given him a little tiny Ironkin, actually perfectly designed.
I didn't
for the
say
run.
I hated it. I just said I don't like it as much. I think dwarves are cool, but they're just not as cool as other.
So the
Burrison.
thrice
other
devoured there.
groups.
So it's still kind of kin-sized, but you can have a look on this model here that so much of him is now bionic, right? So he's been chewed up and
bionic fingers that do it.
yeah, chewed up
Really
and
cool.
spat out so many times.
I
that,
took
like,
it
his
at more
arm,
of as,
his
like,
arms, most of his
acid.
face, perhaps a kind of unspecified amount of his body has probably been dissolved by horrible Tyranid bioacid in their stomach and things. But he's still kicking. And it also
No,
shows
oh
how
gosh, no, I
durable
don't
the
want them
kin
to
are,
drop
right?
the
So
mini.
They're specially
Then we might
designed by their
witness like a
Votann
murder
to
on
be
behalf of the artist who
durable to
painted
endure kind
that.
of the most hostile conditions.
Oh
and
my
he's a good
gosh.
example of how that's kind of manifesting.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? So I think we've covered the league pretty thoroughly, right?
Yeah.
Before
Warsaw,
we
you don't
move
like
on, we're going to
Freerin?
go to the old world next. A couple of sort of housekeeping bits. The first one would be we're going to return to the 41st millennium at the end of the preview. So particularly if you like Kill Team, but also there's some other things for other factions as well. Do hang around if you like Warhammer 40,000. The other thing
They're
I
so
would say
fuzzy, and
is
I don't know if that's
that,
me or if that's
lots
them.
of the people who mentioned that they were joining us from around the world, you can interact with our social teams. We have
Anyone
sort of,
else who's watching this
international social
separately,
teams that manage
is it also
our
fuzzy
various
when he
sort of,
moves?
social media places. Here they
'Cause,
are.
like,
If
it
you
looks like
wanna,
it's like a
sort of get
hollow
involved in
screen.
conversation in the language which suits you, go knock yourself out. They're really lovely people. They're really engaged and want to, sort of make
Okay,
sure that
cool.
you get to hear about Warhammer in.
Hey, Audley, thank you so much for
And if you speak
For 2
English
months of
or you're
support.
willing to take a pot shot at it, these are our socials as well. So please.
Well, you know,
come
I'm
join
just
the
getting into the
conversation.
Warhammer universe, the grainy,
Right,
fuzzy.
Time for a little bit of Warhammer: The Old World.
Yeah, let's do it.
So
Ooh.
first up, we have brand new units for the Tomb Kings of Khemri. This is a new multi-part plastic
I'm not
kit
a huge fan of
made from
undead, but I
Heralds.
do like the way the Tomb
easiest
Kings
way to
look.
describe these is that you have a battle standard bearer and you have a new hero / lord. You could make that and call it a Tomb Prince or a Tomb King. I
Wow.
think it's up to you. You get a battle standard, which you can put on either thing. So if you fancy a faster
Oh, look at
moving
the
battle standard,
cobra
stick it
down
on
there by
horse
the
guy. If you
horse's
fancy
feet.
him, like standing around in one of your big regiments of skeleton warriors or tomb guard, then go for the on foot version.
Is that
There's
actually
some
what
options in
cobra
terms of head
skulls look
things
like?
As well. Battle standard bearers are key to Warhammer armies. If you play the old world, you'll know.
Yeah, I love this battle standard. That kind of
It is a
weird
cool battle
scorpion.
standard.
Both the paint scheme and the model itself are very cool. As you say, this is multi-part as well, so you can swap and change if you want the faster one. If you've got lots of chariots or something in your army,
Yeah.
you can mix them in.
That's a big
I would imagine
standard.
there's a
That's
fair bit of customizability
heavy.
between this kit and some of the
Heavy.
other Tomb Kingy bits as well.
Yes, yeah,
So-
not just within this kit itself, but also I think things like the Tomb Guard, for example. So this isn't the only new plastic kit coming for the Tomb Kings of Khemri. We also have the Leech Priests, who are fundamental to the workings, literally, of the Tomb Kings.
Yeah, you absolutely need Lich Priests in your
Oh,
army.
the
if you've got a
vulture at the
Tomb
top
King's
of
army. Your army
his
only
scepter.
woke up because you had Lich Priests. It's their job to kind of keep the magic flowing that keeps your army marching forward. Again, this is a multi-part kit. There's some lovely options.
What's on his
these. You
scales?
can see they're
Are this
perhaps
just
a little
incense?
bit less dead than some of the other Khemri,
Yeah,
but they're still
they've got
very
some
definitely,
desiccated skin hanging
definitely
on.
desiccated. Definitely spent far too long in the desert inside a pyramid somewhere. I love the vulture on the top of the staff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that one's cool.
So thanks for bringing that back. It's a really lovely image of these sort of animated creatures that have sort of come
Look at
alive
that,
through
this
the
guy on
magical
the right.
rituals that
I
have
think
taken
you were
place.
saying as well.
He's
that
got
looks like
his,
it's
like,
right out of a piece of
summer
Warhammer
bod.
art, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
Look
the
at
mounted
that.
guy
He
in
got his
particular, I
summer
think,
bod
they're both
ready.
exquisite,
He's beach
but the
ready.
mounted guy, from sort of the perfect angle, he just looks like the artwork, and I mean that is the highest possible compliment. Tomb King veterans might be wondering if that's extra armor on the skeletal steed. It certainly is. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But yes, you can have a barded skeletal steed, which I think might be quite useful if you're used to terrible armor saves in your Tomb King.
Get me
armor.
his diet plan. I have.
I
Here's
guess
the
we can talk
diet
about that
plan.
now.
First
If we go
step.
across to also coming out
Die.
is a new arcane journal, the War of
Don't do
Sex's
that, please.
Fury,
Please don't do
etc.
that.
The Imperishable is very, very angry. His lands have been defiled. He feels like he owns everything, and he is launching a
You will
full-scale
get very
invasion
skinny
northward
if you just
into the
stop
sort of
living.
border region
I
between
don't
the
recommend
Empire
it.
and Bretonnia, sort of known as the Vaults.
It's a
Also
diet
inhabited
plan.
by some dwarves.
Yes.
You've got some dispossessed
Yes.
barons and nobles
Yes.
from both the Empire and Bretonnia. And so they
Oh,
are
thank you,
forced
Spidey.
to rally in defence of a
I
full-scale
appreciate it.
invasion of the undead from Khemri. There are rules for sort of allied forces, playing smaller games in like a timely and interesting fashion. It's just packed, and it's a really cool way.
I didn't
of
say
looking at
anything
the
about gaining
lore of the
muscle.
old
I
world and
just
how
said,
they're
if you want to be
sort of
skinny,
explaining
there's
the things that
one
took place in this
option.
particular part of the
Yes, it
Warhammer
is
time.
forbidden,
It's great
not
to get some new
allowed.
lore for the old world as well. I think.
Yeah,
it's,
absolutely.
the team diving into the opportunities.
I
that
agree, Fen.
the
I'm
world
not
allows.
usually an
You see what I
undead
mean
fan,
about
but
the artwork,
I
right? So
do
the guy in
like
centre,
the
like,
vibes of the
just
Tomb Kings.
in this piece,
Maybe not
it
every
really
mini,
just screams the imagery that we
but-
saw before. I love it. There's another Arcane Journal coming, which is equally exciting. Just happens at the other side, quite literally, of the region in the Old World, known as the Old World. This is Dawn of the Storm Dragon, and it features a bold strategic move made by.
Yeah,
Miao
dying
Ying,
is
who's
also
the,
heresy,
lady
so
featured in
keep that
Center.
in mind.
She's one of the children of the Dragon Emperor, and she learns of the Chaos Invasion, which is happening in the north, and is concerned that it's going to gain too much traction.
Man,
so
Cathay.
loads ships.
Sorry, those
full
models
of,
are amazing.
Grand Cathayan soldiers, and sails to the Empire, sets up an enclave, and helps to try and stymie this Chaos Invasion.
Look, she can wear a
In real
dress. She
terms,
wants to look
that's
pretty
A, a cool
sometimes.
story,
I
and B,
understand that.
there's rules
I,
in
on
there for
occasion,
all
like
sorts
to
of
wear a
things,
good
including,
dress. I'm
the
very
opportunity
picky
to have
about
an
it, but
allied
like,
force of Grand Cathay and the
I
Empire
like to
of
look
That's
fancy.
That's exciting.
That is
We've
really
never
Like
had
a
anything like that
girl.
before, really, have we? So.
Yeah, so, and I think this is sort of a great example of the really sort of bold and exciting things that the studio team responsible for the Old World are doing. They clearly love the setting. They want to explore it in really rich and vibrant detail.
Sounds great.
Absolutely. So, we should throw over to Question Corner and see if Simon's got any questions for us.
What have you got for us, Simon?
Loads and loads of questions. I think the majority of them are focusing on the Leagues of Votan. There's loads of fun new toys coming out there, of course. So the first one is actually about the Judgment tokens. Are they
Not necessarily a gold dress.
obviously, we've got the yield
I also
rules,
like red
but what about
a
judgment
lot.
tokens?
So
a
the
good
focus in
black
terms of
dress
the army
is
mechanic
nice.
Is those yield points that we've talked about before. It's always
I don't
good
think
when
I
we
have
get
any
questions like,
golden
"Can you
dresses."
tell me the really grainy, granular rules things, because the answer is no. We've got 90 minutes to rail through as much stuff as we can, as fast as we can. We'll cover way more detail about Votan rules and mechanics and all those things as we lead towards it. But you're in for some subtle changes in the way the Leagues of Votan work, and it's quite exciting.
Cool. We've got another one, which were the funky drill shell tokens on the Chthonian Earthshaker. What do they represent?
So I do have a really short and candid answer for that. You saw them on the little base beside. The kit comes designed for you to have 2 of those. Mine, if I remember correctly, and don't sue me, internet, if I get it wrong. You put them down alongside the Earthshaker when you deploy, and you can remove one from the game to give yourself re-rolls on wound rolls as you're playing. So
It looks like they had an
kind of fun.
update to
It's
the
like,
book,
it
not necessarily
represents
Cathay models, but there seems to be
the
book
unit is sort of set up
updates.
so that they have some specialist shells, so that'd be like representing the unit being like, right, we're going to use one of the big ones now. This is the important shot.
Perfect.
Probably got time for one more, so let's go with how many models can the
sorry.
Capricus carrier transport?
Great question.
It carries 5, so it works
They
a little
said
bit like
that.
some of the other Leagues of Votan transports, where you take a unit of, usually come in 10s, you split the unit in half.
They said this.
So 5 of them can go in that. If you've got 2 of the transports, you can carry both the units round in those, or you can leave 5 of them back on your baseline and deploy them elsewhere.
When you're an actual dragon, you can wear whatever
Thank
you
So,
please. Yes.
We'll draw
Yes.
a curtain on the
Yep.
Old World. But we
She
will go
can
to the
take you
mortal
out,
realms
even in a
instead.
dress,
There's some
if she's
exciting things,
dragon.
for us to talk about here. And let's start with a new battle tome for Death, the Death Grand Alliance. These are the Flesh Eater Courts. Many of you will be familiar with them. These are the foul and abominable cannibal monstrosities who unfortunately have delusions, quite literally, of being noble and elegant.
Ew,
and
look at this
chivalric,
bone in his
and,
leg.
the truth couldn't be sort of further
Ew.
from that.
Yeah, they absolutely imagine
Oh,
that they
that's
are in
nasty.
service to
I
some
hate
grand
that.
king,
No
or perhaps a grand
thanks.
crusade
No,
of some
thank
sort,
you.
or part of a pageant or a noble
No.
feast of some sort, but are in fact horrible, degenerate cannibals, as you say. The new battle tome has all the stuff that you would expect. Lots of new ways to use your army, new magic abilities, new enhancements, changes to some of the way the war scrolls work. So lots of exciting stuff. And perhaps most excitingly, there is a new miniature on the way to accompany them, which is the High Falconer Felgrin. So much like the rest of the Flesh Eater Courts, this guy is under an illusion. His particular delusion is that he is a falconer in charge of noble and wise
I was gonna
avian
say-
creatures, where in fact he is in charge of a swarm of rabid bats.
I was
And
like, he's
the model is very characterfully, like he's got.
That's
his kind
not
of
a falconer.
weird, crazy hat. He's got
You can
kind
see
of
the almost like the vestiges of that nobility that you were just referring to, right? He's got like a very sort of like huntsman-y style hat on,
Yep.
and the tattered robes of a person that might be performing that duty. But he's
it's-
also got guts hanging off.
It's
the
a
trees
very
flying
fun.
off.
It's a very fun miniature. I think in the spinning shot, maybe you can just picture it. But there's a bat that comes with him, which is
Yeah,
basically a
he's
token
fancy just
that
because of his
represents,
hat.
something in the game, where he sends one of his falcons off to spy an enemy unit, and that can give you bonuses in games, basically. So these are the kind of spies, the eyes and ears of the Flesh Eater Courts. And if you direct it to an enemy unit, it can give your squires, your kind of ghouls, bonuses against that enemy unit. You can do things like take away their ward save and get better at killing them, basically. So a very useful unit to have in your game, and a very characterful model for your army.
Nice. There's also accompanying this release for the Flesh Eater Courts, the Charnel Watch. This is a new spearhead, so you can use it straight in games of spearhead, or you can use this to bulk out, or maybe you can use this to bulk out your existing Flesh Eater Courts army. This is a fast-moving, hard-hitting, infantry-focused spearhead. It's got models that you'll be very familiar with, and the way that they synergize within this game, within Spearhead, is really fun. Expect sort of lightning assaults, and then using monstrous-sized infantry to sweep the enemy away.
Yeah. Also a great start to a larger Age of Sigmar army for Flesh Eater Courts. It combos really nicely with the existing Flesh Eater Courts spearhead. So if you've got that already, you can add this in, and you've basically got most of an army. Yeah, some really good stuff. A couple of the cannibal monkeys in there as well, which
it's what everybody
always a
needs,
winner.
right?
Who doesn't love that?
I don't.
There's another battle tome for the sort of Death faction, which is the Nighthaunt. Here we have Death Battle Tome Nighthaunt. They're a very popular, iconic faction within the Mortal Realms. They sort of had their place within the second edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and they've really sort of cemented their spot as sort of beloved. This book is like ram-packed with the lore that explains them all, as well as all of the war scrolls and information that you would need. I was talking to an avid Nighthaunt player about this yesterday, who was super excited because he's sort of in the know enough to know, for example, that their ward saves are improving across the board, and so he's very excited to try those in games.
Yeah, there's some significant defensive buffs for the Nighthaunt, certainly, with this battle tome. Generally speaking, you're finding that the units have a bit more health. The way that their immunity to rend works has changed a little bit. So generally their normal saves are a little bit worse, but you can now bolster them with things like all-out defense, and their ward saves are across the board a 5 up or better, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, perfect. But let's get on to the model, which is brand new coming out with this release, which is the Lord Vitriolic. This is a very
What a weird-looking
creature.
guy.
In life, it was something like a poisoner or a maker of
snake oil
like,
merchant.
And in life, did he
fake
have
potions
4
and
arms?
curatives who deceived people and sort of let them down or led them to ruin.
This
And
guy's a
Nagash is able to
weirdo.
claim his soul because of his sort of malpractices, evil deeds, and has reformed him into this horrific Lord Vitriolic with like backward jointed arms on top of his spine. He's horrible, but really fun in the game.
Yeah, so he's got some very
If
fun
he has
rules.
backward
So basically
jointed
you can
arms,
see
how
his
does he
rack of
grab
potions
things
on
off his
back there.
potion shelf without like
And the way that
spilling them?
manifests in games is you can create specialist potions and throw them.
Those
at
are
enemy
his
units.
feet, which are
You've
now
got 2 options
arms.
on how you do that. You can either just chuck a bunch of random potions at the enemy and roll some random things to see what happens to them, or you can concoct a very specific potion to do a specific job. And the effects of those can range from things like doing harm to the enemy unit, taking away some of their advantages.
I
all the
know,
way through to things like
dedication.
stripping ward saves from enemy.
Yeah,
Dedication,
that
grow
one
extra
looks
arms.
It's a really good little problem-solving unit, so you can go, right, what enemy am I facing? What I'd really like against this is this specific bonus or this specific debuff to the enemy unit, or just to do some damage. So I think we're going to see a lot of this.
I
guy
did
in
think the
Nightfall
color of the
Realms.
smoke that was like guts or gore. I think if they had gone with like a green, it would have been better.
There's a new spearhead for the Nighthaunt. This is the Cursed Shackle Horde. It's just all the ghosts all the time, right? An absolutely brilliant box loaded with everything you'd want to either kickstart an army, reinforce an army, or play games of Spearhead.
Yeah, it's very cool, and obviously a great place to start a new Nighthaunt army.
Yeah, absolutely. Those things were cool.
They're cool.
But there's a lot of people here who have been holding onto their hats really patiently, hoping that we maybe, show them something they've never ever seen before.
That would certainly be cool.
Why don't we start with this?
Oh. Okay, that's pretty sick. I won't lie.
What an incredible reveal, Eddie! I know you're super
Not the
excited.
emo.
I am very excited. This might be my new Age of Sigmar army. These are the Hellsmiths of Hashut. These are effectively the reincarnation of the Chaos Dwarf concept for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. An entirely
that's
redesigned
pretty
and
cool.
brand new army. Coming out first in an army set.
Dwarves are kind of
arriving
heat.
alongside its new battle tome. The army set also serves as the spearhead force for the Hellsmiths of Hashut. These models are phenomenally cool.
Okay.
The rules are great. The lore is
I
great.
love that
absolutely everything about
Minotaur
them. Let's dive into the
looking
miniatures
thing.
I
and,
think the first thing I
get
want to say
excited.
is let's talk about like why they are these. When the time of chaos happened in the mortal realms, the Duardin, they retreated. They survived in their holds, or they took to the skies, or whatever. But
not these guys.
But not
these
so
guys.
the Zardron, the Chaos Duardin, who would become known as the Hellsmiths.
My
Hashut.
bank account
They
is
instead
crying,
turned
yes.
to Hashut,
Not yet.
An ancient,
Very soon,
terrible Duardin deity who taught them the ways of hellsmithing.
Yeah.
So, and their whole culture is based around Hashut, the Bullfather. And we're going to see that sort of writ large across all of these models. Let's dive into the first thing that appears in this new army set. These are the Infernal Cohort with Hashutite
Okay, your
spears.
basic
Say that
dudes.
fast if you can. They are the core unit for the Hellsmiths of Hashut. They are an elite combat unit straight off the bat. These are very dangerous to Duardin indeed. And the first thing to observe is those Hashutite spears. Each of them's got like a glowing orb in it. That contains imprisoned, ground down, reconstituted demon essence, because that's how they roll.
So the demon legions that invaded the various Duardin holds during the Age of Chaos, some of them took over the holds, but where the Hellsmiths of Hashut dwelled, they instead trapped those demon legions and decided to weaponize them into a fuel to power their war machines, their weapons, and their technology.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep calling them Chaos
green
Dwarfs.
glow,
That's
as
what
you
I
say,
like
is
first
ground
thought
up
of. I was
demon
like,
juice that is
Chaos
powering
Dwarves,
the
and then I was
weapons
like,
of the
oh.
Hellsmith.
Yeah, it's
I
so
guess
cool.
not,
Things to talk
technically.
about within this unit. Obviously, like a unit champion, you see you've got a musician, which is like this weird combination of the bare-chested Duardin and a Hobgrot carrying a massive gong on its back, and obviously a standard bearer. It's a twofer kit. That's like
A twofer?
internalism for this kit makes two different types of unit. And so here you have them with Hashutite blades, basically shorter ways of killing people. They have different profiles within the game.
Yeah, both very useful. The spears generally are your slightly more defensive thing, so you get bonuses against the enemy that's charging you, against cavalry. The swords are the slightly more offensive option, where you get bonuses for fighting into enemy infantry and taking the fight. To the enemy.
Okay.
But both effectively heavily armored elite infantry.
Yeah, absolutely so.
Sorry.
And you can paint them in different colours. The studio team's done a lovely job. The banner in the middle just is a really interesting nod to sort of the Zardron culture, which is, that's a ziggurat in the middle of that banner, right, with the Bullfather's rune above. They live in ziggurat cities, and each one is ruled by a war despot. As if by magic, here is the war despot.
Oh, I thought you planned the whole thing.
This is my favourite model within this.
It's a great
army set.
hat.
It might be
It's a
my
great hat.
my favourite of the Hellsmiths. It's just so good. Huge hat, great big spikes. He's carrying an enormous warglaive, which is glowing. See the runes at the top glowing.
It is
with this
really
sort of,
cool, I won't
eldritch
lie.
power. The war despots, they have to rule through a mixture of sort of violence and also through just ensuring that everybody around them knows that they are the nastiest, toughest of all of the Hellsmiths. So they are dominant figures.
Yeah, like any Duardin, they couldn't demand the loyalty of their followers unless they were able to lead from the front, basically. So they're not cowardly, but they certainly are diabolical
show
schemers
us
sort of
the
thing.
guy.
So they will lead their armies
Show us the
into
guy.
battle proudly, but certainly not go for a fair
And
fight.
their whole reason for being as an entire culture is it's just like weaponized greed. They plunder and take from the land, and they give nothing back. If they don't want it, they destroy it. They are like cruel in the extreme, because that's how they survived the time of chaos.
Yeah, they don't see themselves as corrupted through that. That's an
No.
interesting
There's no physical side effects at all to what they've gone through.
An interesting sub point. They see themselves as almost the paragons of purest order, right?
Yeah.
So they've taken the assault of chaos and they've ground it down and created like order from chaos. But in the mortal realms, they're paving over the natural order and putting up the monuments to Hashut and the great ziggurats that power their industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Also within this spearhead is just this incredible centerpiece model, the Dominator engine.
I love him.
It's another kit that makes
He's
two
incredible.
things. So here you can see the immolation cannons. This is a enormous metal creation which is animated and powered
I almost just
by
like the
this
cannons
demon
best.
energy roiling inside it. Have a look at the sort of brazier in its belly. You can see the demonic eyes peering out as like the demonic souls within a torch.
I love the flames.
I
on the
apologize,
thing,
guys.
that
I
kind
will
of, like,
be
green into
right back.
purple fire
I'm so
is
sorry.
such
I will
a-
be
a
right back. I
beautiful
promise.
sort of
I
aesthetic.
gotta take care of
This
something.
is both an incredibly cool miniature, which I think I'm looking forward to see what painters do with this, because the heavy metal one is wonderful, but I think once this goes out into the wild and you've got
You're going to see
you know,
incredible interpretation.
yeah, 1,000 painters painted this, it's going to be amazing. I can imagine this in beautiful non-metallics. In game, this thing is an absolute juggernaut, right? So it has a 2-up save, armor save, which in Age of Sigmar is almost unheard of. It has loads of wounds. It hits really hard. The combat version can mulch entire units. The shooting version is what you want if you want to wade into the middle of an enemy army and just set the whole thing on fire. Like a lot of the stuff in the Hellsmith's army, their kind of army mechanic allows you to harness a demon power on specific units, so you can bolster the power of it. And on these, it's particularly devastating.
Fantastic. And we're still not done. Also within the Spearhead, you'll find this. This is the Tormentor Bombard. The Chaos Dwarfs of old, if you cast your mind back, if you're old enough like me, to the world that was, the Chaos Dwarfs were renowned for devastating artillery, particularly that lobbed things far across the battlefield. And that concept has been reimagined for the Mortal Realms with this just beautiful Tormentor Bombard, raw demonic power hurled high into the air to come crashing down upon the enemy. It's deadly in the game.
Yeah, this is the war machine you use if you're being advanced on by multiple enemy units. So you can fire at a single enemy unit and the units nearby also take damage. That's how devastating this is. Very long range. I think it shoots 30 inches, which again is very good in Age of Sigmar. I think the Hellsmiths of Hashut, between this and some of their other units, have claimed to being one of the most devastating shooting armies in the Mortal Realms.
Well, let's talk a bit more about that, because I think we have the Death Shrieker rocket battery. Brilliant for just like blowing up the enemy's big impressive things, right?
Yeah, so this is a monster killer, right? So where your other war machine is the thing to take out blocks of enemy infantry and kind of massed formations, this is they have one big monster that I want to be dead. You can fire this at them, and this, with a fair, with decent rolls, will take out a monster in a single volley.
You're firing essentially a demon energy imbued bolt the size of 2 Duarden, stood sort of head to toe. Yeah, it's grim. This launch set also includes a battle tome. It also includes all of the war scroll cards that you would want to have with your collection. It's the perfect jumping on point for an all-new Hellsmiths of Hashut army.
But that's not it.
But that's not it.
There's more.
Why don't we show you some more?
Sorry, guys. I apologize.
If the launch
My
box
stomach
wasn't
didn't
awesome
agree
enough,
with me
they will be
about a
followed
thing, and I
shortly
had to take
thereafter
care of
with
it.
all of those incredible models that you just
I'm good
saw,
though. I'm fine.
Rounding out the force into a really substantial and impressive Warhammer Age of Sigmar army.
Yeah, immediately out of the gate, you have almost a full army offer, basically, of stuff. And we start off with one of the classic units of Warhammer returning. Bull Centaurs have been part of Warhammer for, I think, almost 35 years, something like that.
I remember being charged by these when I was like 13 or 14.
In the classic red with green bases back was in the day. But this is a heavy cavalry unit. They are basically the experts at riding down enemy forces and crushing them under their hooves. They hit very hard. They're well armored. These are the sort of
keep turning them up. I
manifestation of
swear,
the
every
power
time
of
they
Hashut
talk, it's like
in kind of
louder
form.
and louder.
The
It's
Duardin
like,
here have kind of warped to be more alike to their ancient ancestor god.
Yeah, absolutely. You said a thing to me earlier that I thought was really striking, which is Hashut's whole thing is like trampling the mortal realms underfoot, right? He's a the dwelling gods sort of inherited a different realm, and
Yeah,
he
so-
gets stuck with the realm. of
So
beasts.
there's loads of really great lore in the new Battle Tome, and one of the things that comes out is the idea that there were the ancestor gods of the Dwarden, and Heshut was almost like one of them, right? He was like one of the pantheon, and he was given the realm of beasts, and he sort of felt that was almost like an insult, right? Like, I don't want the realm of beasts. So rather than trying to kind of be harmonious with it, he decided to just trample it flat. So all of his incarnation of beast power is in the form of trampling, in the form of kind of harnessing and
I do like the fact that these are
so
like
let's
very
look at
powerful looking like
another sort of
centaur
variation that this
builds.
kit enables you to make, which are the Anointed Sentinels. These are the most devoted towards Heshut of the Hellsmiths. They guard his holy places, whatever a holy place for the Bull Father Heshut might look like. So they're much more defensive than the other Bull Centaurs, although by no means a passive unit. They're just really great at counterpunching. And when you consider how much of the force might be standing back and raining death on the enemy, very useful in their own right. You also get like a little interesting nod to that Hashutite culture, sort of breathed into it through these.
Yeah, I love those miniatures. They might be my favourite in the range, those particular.
I just like how chunky they are. They're not like real thin and fragile. They're like, oh, no, we're going to take you down more like a bull base than an actual like a horse base. Which, you know, you can kind of see.
We have the Infernal Razors. Now, these have got blunderbusses. And if you
anything good, lots of stuff that's
long enough in the beat,
good. Votan,
blunderbusses from yesteryear.
Absolute.
there's lots of good stuff.
Warhammer Fantasy.
Not my favorite per se, but still good.
Diabolical. And these are a very dangerous shooting unit in their own right. Again, they're harnessing that sort of demonic power to operate their weapons. There's no gunpowder necessary here. And the kit makes two options. So you have those, and you have the flame hurlers, which, I mean, they hurl flames. There's not much more explanation particularly required.
Yeah, two really powerful units. The blunderbusses, not much to choose between them really. They both do a great job.
Yes.
The blunderbusses have got a little bit more range on them. The flame hurlers can fire while you're in combat, which is really handy. So even if the enemy manages to reach you, you can still sort of set them on fire. But the thing that really makes them is that through the army rule mechanic, you can power them up and power up the demonic energy inside their guns, which basically increases the rend on the guns. You can get these things up to rend 3, doing multiple damage, which is absolutely
I wish I knew what that meant, but I don't play
if the enemy
Sigmar.
is like charging your big unit of Infernal Razors, and you get like a decent round of shooting against it, you can wipe out things like heavy cavalry and whole units of armored infantry and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they are very, very good.
Yeah, now everything we've shown you really is quite elite and high value.
Get ready for the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what if you want some chaff to hurl under the the wheels of the enemy, so to speak? Good news. There is a
They look like
genial
little, I was like, they look like little
between the
hobgoblins.
Hellsmiths
They
and
are
the
hobgrots.
Hobgrots, who sort of bolster their ranks. Hobgrots are also really into doing awful things and desecrating the world, and so they exist as almost like a vassal state within the Zardron culture. In exchange for better weapons than they could like forage for themselves, they get to join the army and whack stuff. They fill a really interesting niche in that they are faster than the Hellsmiths and they can scout, right?
They absolutely can. So the way these guys are going to fit into your army, most of your force is going to be very good at shooting, but relatively slow. So you're going to be moving on to the objectives late game, but these can scout, as you say, so you can kind of push them forward early in the game, grab those objectives, just get under the feet of enemy units. They will absolutely be used for things like trying to take a charge from something so you can set all your other units up for an amazing round of shooting, or to charge them with bull centaurs or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you will absolutely want some of these in your force. We've obviously seen Hobgrots before in the kind of Cruel Boys force, but these are
Yeah, they don't wow me, but obviously they're just supposed to be just your regular, just little guys that you just throw out there. They're not supposed to be super duper
they don't get to
special.
play with any of the cool demon stuff.
So let's look at some of the extra sort of heroes that join the faction. These are
Ooh, he's
the Demon
cool.
Smith. They are the ones who do the hellsmithing, I suppose it's fair to say. And you can see in this model there's some real sort of hints as to who he is. Obviously a wizard. He's got that demonic power.
He's got his
sort of coming out of his
tablets.
hand. He's got his tome. Looks like it's sort of etched in. I don't know what
Like
stone that is.
Obsidian Jade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it looks like a jade. I was just thinking that.
Runes. I think his lectern is animated. In a nutshell,
Man, I'd love
they
that
are-
to follow me around.
Whoever painted that in the heavy metal team, well done.
Yeah,
Well done,
it's,
guys.
It's just stunning. They fill a particular function because they're the ones that enable all of the sort of
You need a hat like that. You should get a hat like that.
To work. In game terms, they do a particularly useful thing, as well as being a wizard, which is obviously great. They can heal your war machines as well. So if you've got any of those big infernal engines, or you've got any of your cannons that have been damaged, they can kind of go over and put the power back into them, sort of thing.
Yeah. This kit has another option in it. It also makes an Ashen Elder. We showed you the anointed centaurs, who are the ones who guard the holy sites.
Okay.
This is the person
What happened to
doing
his
the rituals
face?
inside the holy sites? And you can see that petrification has started to happen to his skin. The older a hellsmith gets, the more they start to become like stone. The skin cracks. If they're very powerful.
Okay, got it.
Right magic,
He's done too much
available,
magic.
Hold it at bay a little bit.
Yeah,
magic,
but
not
these
even
are
once.
There's a couple of really interesting things. I like his
Be
staff.
careful,
I'm just
kids.
gonna
If you
give
do
the
too
guys
much
about
magic,
how,
you'll turn to stone.
Beautiful it is that the smoke makes it look like a beard. But you had a fascinating fact about the hammer.
Yeah, so there's lots of things that are really fun about this miniature. But if we go for hammer particularly, there's not a lot of hammers in the Hellsmiths of the Hashut, and one of the reasons is that hammers are actually seen as a slightly profane symbol to the Hellsmiths because they remind them of the other dwarven ancestor gods, which really like hammers. But this particular hammer is blessed in the blood of other Duardin priests. So he would have found a runesmith or something, or one of the Caradron priests or something, and then slain them in a sacrifice and blessed the hammer in that blood.
Oh dang!
So
that's hard.
Why he's the one with the hammer when no other
So
Hellsmith
if you're a Fire Slayer player, a Caradron Overlord
they hate
player,
this guy.
pick on this guy the most, right?
The Caradrons and the Fire Slayers
see, it's the
really do not
only
get on with the Hellsmiths.
sad part about not wanting to be rock
Yeah,
hard.
absolutely so.
Don't do too much
there's
magic,
also
kids.
another character we should talk about. This is Urak
look
Tar.
at that.
He's the first demon smith.
Wow.
Back in that ancient time when the Hellsmiths needed to learn to survive, he learned the secrets of this demon smithing from Hashut. He is truly ancient and abominably powerful.
Okay, this is
you can see how
cool.
that manifests his the petrification on the back, deep trenches of
No,
rock
those are just
starting to
his
form out of his flesh,
muscles.
horns erupting from his skull. He's mounted on an enormous infernal, my brain's just gone blank, infernal Taurus. Just centerpiece written all over him. Incredible spot within the lore. Wonderful.
Yeah,
And the runes on the
miniature.
horns
It's a 2-for-1 kit
of
as
this
well, which
bull
is
are really cool.
It also makes your Demon Smith on Infernal Taurus. There's a bunch of options on this kit as well, which is amazing. So
The green
I can't
or
wait to
the
see what painters do with this
copper.
because
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
just asking for a beautiful color scheme. You can imagine this in beautiful non-metallics or metallics or glowing runes
Oh
or
my
glowing
kind of
gosh.
petrified rock or
That
something
looks,
else. But
just
again,
stunning.
that kind of manifestation of Hashut as never deciding to use the natural
should paint
materials.
one.
It's
I don't
always
know
gonna
what
be
I would use it
industrial in some
for.
way, or made out of iron or metal or stone or something like
And
that.
the only wood on the base is
Burnt
ruined.
to cinder.
it's
Yeah,
so
you,
good.
you can imagine him walking through a forest of just like that.
Yeah, should we take a look at some of the models in the flesh? We've got them here in the room with us, and we can give you some sort
I've
of
got
a sense
ourselves
of
a
their
little
forms.
lineup
Yeah, look
from
at this.
look at that.
It's looking good. Here is my personal favourite. You have the War Despot. You can see he's a very chunky-looking Duardin. If I stick this Infernal Razor next to him, you get
he's
a sense
tall.
of, sorry, I'm just making your life harder with the camera there. Perfect. You can see bigger in stature, more powerful. Moving along, you have the Demon Smith and the Ashen Elder. Teeny tiny little hobgrot on the end of the line. Really quite sort of scrawny, just perfect for subverting to your will and getting through your daily work.
Just for kind of scale purposes, that's the same size more or less as the hobgrots that currently exist in the Cruel Boys range, so you get an idea of the size. Much larger. We have the bull centaur there.
Yeah,
so you can see that the
significantly
power of the
larger.
Hashut sort of coursing through that guy. This is a fairly large cavalry miniature there. It's like on a scale with some of the kind of I guess like Agrodon sort of size, that kind of.
He's big. To say the
Holy
least.
cow, that's
but not as big as. Terrible segue. Here we go. Just
even beefier.
Yeah, the guy.
This is such a cool model.
Holy cow.
I think you can have a few of these in your army as well. There's a few different options for kind of heads and things. So I certainly expect to see a few of these making their way to the end.
let's bring in at least one of the artillery.
Yeah,
pieces
let's get one of
if we
those
can,
in.
and then
Right,
we'll
so-
get to the main event. So if I
do
squeeze some of these guys
We'll run
out
out of
the way,
space. There's too much stuff in this release. It doesn't all fit on the table.
I don't think anybody will be complaining. There we go. So you can see the 2 war machines.
Those
Again,
did look
these have
cool.
got like really lovely little dioramas on
I
the
didn't
back,
get to
so
look
you've
at them
got
too much.
multiple characters sort of with different roles across the artillery piece, like
Yeah, absolutely.
funneling the demonic power into the engine or stoking the furnace and that sort of thing. A little bit like the Leagues of Votan artillery we saw before. These are just like wonderful little pieces in their own right.
Yeah. But let's bring in Uraktar, shall we?
Yeah, he's the big guy. Here he is.
Round this all out.
So, I mean, this is...
yeah, I
it's a
knew it
fairly
was
big
going to be
model.
big, but that is...
above even the Dominator engine.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's
just
pretty sick.
Exceptional. There'll be loads more pictures of this on warhammercommunity.com. And you can see it all in more detail. There's probably some bits and pieces of information.
Yeah,
that
that's
we left
pretty
out.
cool.
We need to move on.
Yeah, we
It's
do.
not
Right.
green,
That was-
but
very
the,
cool, very
the
Before I do,
copper
one more
is
thing.
cool.
I'm aware that lots of people in the chat might be keen to know about Warcry and whether or not Warcry is relevant here. The Warhammer Studio team are going to publish rules for using Hellsmiths of Hashut for Warcry when they release.
Yep.
So keep your eyes peeled on the Warhammer community website. There'll be a free download that lets you try out some of the Hellsmith models in Warcry in your games.
Yeah, so not only will there be a full new army for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, they will also feature as an entire new faction in Warcry as well.
Yeah,
But, and
absolutely.
also,
I thought he said war crime.
Yes,
No,
it would
no.
be nice if we segued seamlessly into the Warhammer Underworlds. So welcome to Spikewood. This is an expansion for Warhammer Underworlds. It's the scene is essentially you're in the Spikewood. You have a Hellsmiths of Hashut warband fighting against the Kenothi. So it really is industry versus nature.
Yeah, there's a strong rivalry in the Mortal Realms between the Hellsmiths, who are all about, like, as we say, trampling nature underfoot, and the Sylvaneth, who are all about protecting nature, and the Kenothi are a particularly kind of warlike aspect of that, following the kind of absent hunter god Kurnoth. So they will defend the wild places of the Mortal Realms.
Yeah, so here you can see the 2 warbands. So this is an expansion, as we say, for Emberguard. And you have the Hellsmiths, you have the Kenothi. The Blood of the Bull is the Hellsmiths unit. Bottom left-hand corner, you have a War Despot. Her army advancing into the Spikewood has suffered a
It's a
strategic
she?
reversal. So she's regrouped with her sort of remaining
cannot
warriors,
tell.
her inner circle. And she's waiting on reinforcements.
I could not tell. I would have no idea.
Contesting it, obviously, against the other warband.
Yeah, and you've got some great archetypes in the mix there as well. I particularly like the Hobgrot.
He deserves a call out, doesn't he?
He does, because if you've been playing Warhammer for a very long time,
Surely you can
may
tell she has
remember
no beard.
Hobgoblins from Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
I'm sorry,
There was a
I'm
unit
accustomed to
called Throat
Lord of the Rings
Cutters, I
dwarves,
think it was,
I
or
think
the
so.
Throat
women,
Slitters.
the joke that
He's
Aragorn made about
basically a homage to
dwarf
it's
women
really
having
really
beards.
Yeah, they've got their rules reflect that sort of plunder, take what you want, decimate the landscape just for the joy of it sort of mentality. The other warband in this set is, he says, well, there we go, the Kurnoth's Herald. These are there's 3 of them in the kit. They
The
make
green
these,
belly buttons are off-putting.
Kenothi. The thing to point out with them in terms of like their rules and how they play is that they're very defensive because they're holding what they've got. They're not interested in stealing other people's stuff. They just want to protect their woods. And so while they're in their own area of the board, if you're an Underworlds player, you'll be familiar with the sort of mechanic. They're better, so they're better at defending their own
So
objectives.
it's quite an interesting warband then, because they're quite a fast warband. And usually
That's
you
true.
expect that to
I
be quite
guess I
aggressive,
should have
but
thought
your
of no
bonuses
beard.
are for defensive play.
Yeah, so redeploying, fighting in different areas in your own area, and
I love these miniatures. I think we've seen Kenothi in Underworlds before.
I'm
and
sorry,
we've seen
I
kind of
can't. The
expansions
belly
of that,
buttons just,
but
I
think
don't
this is a
like it.
phenomenally cool looking warband.
I looked at them too long, and I'm really disturbed by their gemstones glowing
You've
in
said
their
that
belly
you don't like the
buttons.
glowing
Yeah,
belly
it's
buttons.
something about it, man.
I dig it. I dig it. I'm here for glowing belly buttons.
So there we go. Awesome stuff also for Warhammer Underworlds. What an awesome set of releases for Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
And 10 years of Warhammer.
That's a
Sigmar
really
as
fair
well.
point. Yeah. 10 years ago this month, we saw the arrival of the Mortal Realms, the birth of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And we're going to be sort of showing over the coming year a whole bunch of interesting things to do with the Mortal Realms. So if you enjoy Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you're in for a good time.
Yeah, it's taken the Hellsmiths a long time to get here, hasn't it?
Yeah, it
but
was
then they
worth the
are
wait.
only movement 4. So
Raph has respectably reminded us that there is in fact 5 more things to
Oh,
talk
there's
about.
more. Look at this.
And we're already getting the.
It does look like a gem, but it's just still
There
off-putting.
are 4 more boxes coming for Warhammer Underworlds. Each box contains 4 warbands. Each box also synergizes with a particular faction. So this is the Order one, the Seekers in Shadow, and it contains 4 warbands from the Order faction, Grand Alliance, I should say. This is the Death one. These are the Reavers of Ruin.
Age
the
of
Chaos
Centaurs, yeah.
Warbands,
They
and
have
we
had
saved my favourites
more
last 'cause I'm
Centaurs
allowed
as of
to.
late.
The Gits and Goliaths, the Destruction Warbands. Each, anybody who plays Warhammer Underworlds will know, each Warhammer Underworlds warband is lovely, right? They're just characterful and they home into a different part of the Mortal Realm setting. And you get 4 in a box. It's delightful. To play with them, you would need to pick up this, which is the Warbands of Spitewood. It contains all the cards and everything that you want. So whether you fancy playing with them in Warhammer Underworlds, seamlessly integrating them with their War Scroll cards into Warhammer Age of Sigmar, or just having some different hobby experiences. There's 16 opportunities in 4 boxes.
Every one of those boxes is all killer, no filler. There are some beautiful miniatures in there, including the crab, the Ideneth crab as well.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think we actually are at the end of the Warhammer.
We are now at the end of the Mortal Realms.
It would be a good time to check in on Question Corner and see if there are in fact any questions.
Yeah, there's loads. People are very, very excited to hear about the Hellsmiths joining Warcry. That'd be really cool.
Fantastic. We're really pleased because we want them to be able to play with them and enjoy them.
Yeah, and of course the range is stunning, so people are super pumped about that. So there's a bit of confusion with the Grand Alliance that they come from. So presumably they come from the Chaos Grand Alliance. And if so, how do they fit in with the rest of the Chaos?
Yeah, so I can take that one. So the Hellsmiths of Hashut have a slightly interesting relationship with several.
Why are the cards sold separately? Because it's GW.
In the Chaos Grand Alliance.
I was sitting here thinking it, and then I was like, yeah, that's not surprising.
They are corrupted by chaos, at least a little
not
bit.
surprising.
You don't get to play with that much demon power.
No, I mean,
they don't want to put cards in every single box.
And you're turning to stone.
Yeah, I mean,
especially if you buy more than one box.
But they would consider themselves as kind of champions of order, but they are in the Chaos Grand Alliance. They also trade with the various forces of chaos, so perhaps chaos warlords and things would go to their ziggurats and be served with like weapons that they forged in exchange for bounty that is collected across the realms. They also have a kind of symbiotic relationship with the Hobgrots and have traded with like the Cruel Boys and things like that. But they are Chaos Grand Alliance.
Nice. So how does Hashut fit in with the Chaos Pantheon? Does he want to become one?
Really badly.
Yeah, it does not play well with others as a recurring theme, really.
So he is part of the pantheon of the Dwarven gods, right? But he feels ostracised. They understandably want to ostracize him. So the Hellsmiths kind of vilely resent the other Dwarven gods. It's a very fractious relationship, which is why there's such vitriol between them. Great questions. Thank you very much. We need to go to our next setting, which we will do by moving to the timeline of the Horus Heresy.
Let's do it.
Good.
So
finally,
there are a multitude of great releases coming if you play Legions Imperialis. It's all tanks. So if you're a treadhead, settle in and we'll take you on a tour. Several boxes of fantastic plastic kits that make some really interesting.
I do want to paint a little tank. I
on
won't
screen
lie.
now you can see the Whirlwind and Scorpius set. It's 8 of those, 4 of each. And so if you want to just rain death on the enemy, blow them out of their cover, this really is a wonderful way to do it. Built on that famous Rhino chassis, as is the Vindicator Siege Tank Squadron. Essentially, what's the biggest gun you can stick on a Rhino? Oh, it appears to be a gun with a breech big enough to stuff a whole
I want an
space
even
marine
bigger
in it.
gun though, Adam. I want a bigger gun.
You want to do a heavier siege?
I want a heavier
than
siege gun than that.
Well, I've got some very good news
Oh, that's
for you.
it. That's exactly it.
The Type on Heavy Siege Tank Squadron is on the way.
Like these guys are bigger, but I want to paint the tiny tanks they talked about last time.
And,
the little
you
ones.
get like a nice guy with a flamer just warming things up and making sure that everything goes according
Is he
to
contributing? Like, by the time you've been shot by that
I like
siege
to
gun, how
imagine
much of a flamethrower do you really
I
need?
imagine he's just like baking off what's left, you know,
Maybe.
like drive
Well,
through and
the
like, you're
big
getting
gun is
some,
not
you're
aiming
getting
for
some.
little people.
So if you want to blow things up from further away, maybe there's a Titan squadron that offends you, then you could do a lot worse than the Cerberus
the
Heavy Tank
Imperialist
Destroyer
people have been waiting
Squadron.
for this for a while. Well, then good. I'm glad they're getting
These are
it.
firing turbo lasers. That guy's offering you a fist bump. It is a wonderful time to be driving tanks over the enemy.
Some debate in the office as to whether
Imperialis.
it's a heavy tank destroyer or a heavy tank destroyer.
Yeah, exactly. We've had some debate
Let us
on
know
that.
in the chat which one you think it is.
Do you think it's a heavy tank for destroying or a tank for destroying heavy things?
Yes.
Possibly both. Possibly.
The heaviest of all of the tanks, it's so heavy, it's
What?
super heavy, is the Mastodon Assault Transport.
Oh, I see. I was
what
like,
if you
my
wanna just
brain
pack
was
Space
wrapping
Marines
around,
into a
like, what
tank,
is
drive
this
it across the
front?
battlefield,
I
open
see.
your gates
Yep,
and charge
I
into
got
an enemy
it.
stronghold.
I got
Having
it.
leveled the walls with a melter array, then this is the way for you to do so. It's even got its own anti-aircraft system on the top, and the pilot of that is offering you a crisp fist bump as well. I imagine he gets on great with the other guy.
It's sort of a 30,000.
I roll my eyes whenever he says it's a fist bump.
The design on this, we've seen this at like standard Warhammer 40,000 scale. It's beautiful. It's still beautiful at small scale. It's just little. Yeah. So those kits, like loads and loads of tanks, the Treadheads Rejoice. All of the rules for those, in fact, all of the rules for all of the units in Legions Imperialis can be found in Liber Strategia. Essentially, a thing that combines all of the rules and puts them in one place. If you've got a copy of the core rulebook and got a copy of this, you are ready to rock and roll, along with a whole bunch of other rules content. There's too much to go into here and now, but have a look in the article that's going to be on Warhammer Community, and we'll talk more about it closer to the launch. What if you really like the letters A through F and you want to mark objectives and or token effects?
Huge fan.
We're releasing a really
I'm such a huge fan of the letters A through F.
In your games. I find these sort of things very useful for reminding me what effects are going on in the game. And then there's all the formation and data sheets you need for your Legions Imperialis games. The team responsible for this setting have really just done a cracking job of making sure that like the rules are accessible, you can get hold of them. It's really fun time. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, kind of compiled a lot of to together into a much more convenient way of approaching it.
I've got a good friend who's super into it.
That is what compiling means.
He was asking me about, like,
yes,
how he gets all of his rules together, and I just had to sit there quietly knowing that this was around the corner.
Wouldn't that be great if they're all in one book?
Yeah, your prayers have been answered. There's more stuff set within the Age of Darkness. We teased these in the Saturnine preview, but we have the Mark II Assault Squad. I think we showed one before, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I absolutely love these. So this
that's
is
not a tease. You just told us.
Assault Marines. Mark II is kind of one of the more brutal looking of the various different Space Marine armor marks, and these guys have ramped that up even further. You've got some options in this kit for a variety of different weapon options. The coolest of them is the Chain Axe, which is an optional free upgrade to the chainsword that comes normally with your Assault Marines.
Yeah,
I do think the chain axes are pretty sick.
It even has heavy chain axes for extra clout. Think of them as slightly slower than chain axes, but they have a more dangerous. Yeah. Sorry, chainswords, but they have a more dangerous effect. Absolutely. There are points-free alternative. So if you buy these, it's just a straight points, no points involved, just a straight kit swap. If you're dying to have that classic chainsword loadout, then there's some good news because you can swap the arms with the ones that are on the Mark VI Assault Marines, or you can just get them from the upgrade kit. But I think compliance has never looked better than it does with a chain axe.
There's some great different options in there as well. You've got a couple of heavy chain axes too, which is another upgrade you can put onto some of the models. The Sergeant's got the option for some pistols and close combat weapons. And as you can see with the Salamander on the screen there as well, you can also equip them with combat shields. So loads of different things.
I will say, usually when I think chain axes, I think of World Eaters, not Iron Warriors.
Space Marine kits.
I do agree with that.
One of the lovely things about the Horus Heresy is that so many of the kits are really interchangeable with each other, so you can take bits and heads and arms and weapons and stuff and really create it.
I really like the breastplate on these, that high gorget looks fantastic. They're just fantastic looking models. Well done them. There's more coming as well. We previewed the Journal Tactical, which is available to order right now. In fact, all of Saturnine is available to order right now. There's a new Journal Tactical on the horizon. It's called the Forges of Saturn, and this is really all about Vulcan's gift to his brothers through the Saturnine project. And so it focuses very heavily on all of those suits of armor that we've seen in the Saturnine box.
Yeah, there's loads of great new options in this book, particularly allowing you to do more stuff with your Saturnine miniatures. So there are different things that you can do to your Saturnine miniatures using other kits, mixing kits together to create new units. So this is a really great example. This is a Saturnine command squad, and what you've got here is a unit that's taken bits from the command squad sprues and also some spare bits from someone who's built a Saturnine Praetor with his axe. You get the hammer spare. You can now give it to characters in your Saturnine command squad and basically make them into a champion. The other option that you can have inside this is to make one of your Saturnine Terminators into a Saturnine Centurion. That's the Thousand Suns guy on the far left.
Okay, but
there.
the Thousand Suns look kind of neat.
Means that you could now have like 2 tiers of Saturnine commander you can have in your army, and effectively unlocks the ability to have an entire Saturnine styled army if you wanted to.
Yeah, one of the topics that's handled inside this General Tactica is the way the legions embraced Saturnine armor. Obviously, to use it at all requires you to be at least to some extent psychically sensitive. That really plays into the hands of the Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns love it. It's their favourite.
But there's all sorts of things. It's not just the Thousand Suns that sort of get the rub in this. So there'll be lots to enjoy, and we'll tell you more about it as we get closer.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff about how the different legions have sort of embraced it. So the Thousand Suns have sort of used it as intended to some extent and kind of put all of their psychic pilots inside them. The Word Bearers immediately crammed it full of demons just to see what would happen. But all of the legions, to some extent, have recognised the lethality of Saturnine technology and find a place for it in their legions.
Perfect. Right. We're still not quite done in this sort of area of the timeline. I am super excited to be able to announce today on behalf of the Black Library that there is a new mega series on the way. This is the Scouring. This is book 1 called Ashes of the Imperium, and this kicks off a multi-book, multi-author mega series set in the ashes of the Imperium. It's a perfect title. The Horus Heresy is ended. The Emperor is mortally wounded, enshrined upon the Golden Throne. The War Master is dead. The forces of the traitor legions are in full retreat. What happens next? So this series begins essentially at that premise. And here we have a very understandable confrontation between a battered and damaged Rogel Dawn and Rabute Gilliman, who has arrived pristine with reinforcements. And as you can see, they're at loggerheads already. Black Library are super excited for us to be announcing this today, because this is the culmination of a lot of work and effort between a really sort of carefully assembled cabal of writers and creatives that have been. I'm interested to read these. Multi-book series, which we're going to see play out.
Another 20-year book series, really, probably.
Really I think you were saying to me earlier on that there's kind of like 3 core themes, aren't there, that being explored through this.
So in a nutshell, and without spoiling anything for those of you who want to enjoy it, I promise you spoiler-free. There are 3 principal themes. Theme number 1 is what happens with the legions Astartes, right? They've essentially caused all of this, or their brothers have. They've ruined the work of the Great Crusade. The Imperium is in tatters. What is the place for the Space Marine legions in the wake of this catastrophe? For the traitor legions, the second of these sort of perspectives, the War Master is dead. Their whole purpose for doing this has now failed. The Chaos Gods withdraw some of their power. So suddenly they thought they were onto a good thing, and now they're relatively alone.
Why you don't fall to chaos?
How do they survive? How do they regroup? The third group is, in my opinion, maybe the most compelling, which is what of humanity, right? They've just watched these demigods wage war across the Imperium, ruin everything, destroy the Emperor's great works. The Emperor is mortally wounded. How do they respond? How does humanity rally, and how does it perceive the place of the Space Marine legions that remain?
Absolutely. And I think worth saying as well, this is absolutely, you can treat this as a self-contained series.
Oh, yeah.
If you have read all of the Horus Heresy from Horus Rising all the way through the full novel series and then gone through the Siege of Terror, first of all, very well done. There's a lot of books to read, some great stories in there. But if you are new to the Horus Heresy and kind of the setting and the era, you can absolutely
the detail for the artwork on this is very good, since
the Scouring
Rabute was coming from
I have
far,
to give
far
a
away.
Shout out to Chris Wright as well, who is the author.
Dorn was just in battle.
Book. He is a true gangster of words. He's written some of the really fantastic Black Library novels. If you've never read a Chris Wright book and you just want to dip your toes in ahead of trying this, I could not recommend enough Valdor, Birth of the Imperium. It sort of sits outside the rest of the sort of Horus Heresy experience a little bit. And it's like top tier Black Library fiction, and might be a fun way to sort of whet your appetite for more Chris Wright. As we approach the release of this, we're going to have a full-length interview with Chris talking about Ashes of the Imperium.
Okay.
All of the care and consideration that's gone into it, and the narrative that unfolds. More on that on Warhammer Community as we have it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I think
that was awesome. Cool. I really am super excited for it. We're not done yet.
We're not even close.
We promised that we would return to the grim darkness of the Dark Millennium, and we do now with 5 new Space Marine heroes for 5 of the first founding chapters.
Right, this is
Oh.
Vulcan Heston. So this is a model returning that has previously been in metal and resin and is now in plastic.
They're trying
Vulcan
to say Heston.
is a famed hero of
Vulcan.
the Salamanders
Vulcan
chapter,
stands.
and his
Stomp,
particular
stomp.
mission is to scour the galaxy, looking for the relics left by his Primarch, the namesake Vulcan. He wears some of those relics himself, so he is equipped with an artificer suit of
It's
armor.
really cool.
He is carrying a handheld heavy flamer and a blade of Vulcan that crackles with magma fire and is able to slice through enemy warriors. He's also walking through flames, just in case you weren't sure he was as cool as he can be.
He is very
He's just,
cool.
walking through the fire there as well. He is probably the most iconic Salamanders character that exists in Warhammer 40,000, and it's great to see him in plastic. He has a couple of head options. You can have helmeted or unhelmeted. And
Health and safety first.
Both of them look very, very cool indeed. He is only one of the 5 new Space Marine characters. on the
Next
way.
up, we have a very iconic and well-known hero returning in a new incarnation. Darnath Lysander, first captain of the first company, I probably should say, of the Imperial.
I like
Fists
this
chapter.
shield.
He's been remade in the sort of new Terminator armor style that we saw for the first time.
Yeah,
in,
the same scale as the
Ooh.
ones
Yeah, absolutely.
in the recent Warhammer 40,000.
and he is a substantial man in that armor. He has an enormous.
He is
storm shield
substantial.
carrying that incredible looking.
That might be the
hammer.
best storm shield in Warhammer. It's up there, isn't
It's
it?
right up
It's up
there,
there.
yeah. I think the Lion might argue with you, but we're talking top 3, right?
Very
and,
simple
yeah,
armor,
everything you'd expect.
which
from
is
this
not
iconic hero of the
unsurprising for an Imperial Fist, but it's just
chapter.
Nice to see a helmeted option.
feels
in
like
there.
it
absolutely,
lacks a little bit in
thank
terms
you.
of like
You
the
don't want to
armor.
paint a face, and sometimes you just want to get on the
Emphasis on
battlefield.
the
That's
shield and
yeah,
the
I mean, if it wasn't yellow, I don't know, I might
on the
find it easy to
hammer,
paint the
not
face, to be
really
honest.
the armor.
He is not the only. There are 5 of them altogether.
King
so
of
next
Rats,
up
thank you so
we
much
have
for the
Kamar
5 gifted
Bar, a new
subs. Thank you
character
so much,
for the
man.
Iron Hands chapter. This is the captain of the Averni clan.
Yeah. The equivalent to your kind of captain of the first company.
Yeah.
Again, a Terminator in the
Oh.
same scale as.
We're getting some
the
Iron
recent,
Hands in here.
new
Okay.
Terminator kits.
I
Some
like all the
really
servo
lovely little
skulls,
features on
huge
here,
fan of
really leaning
that.
into the kind of Iron Hands lore. You've got lots of nods towards his technological know-how and their kind of alliance
lead
with the
pipe.
Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah, he's got sort of servo skulls attached
Yeah,
by data
yep.
tethers, sort of conjuring information. Look at the one on the bottom right-hand corner. He looks like he's projecting a Fortress of Redemption.
Yeah, he's got like a little holograph.
Yeah.
He's doing such a good
perhaps
job.
a building that they're planning to besiege.
And
or
I
something.
think my favourite thing on this model is actually the power maul, which is shaped after a Tetsubo, not a weapon I'm used to seeing, and it just really works on this guy. Sort of straightforward, practical, extremely brutal. Next up, and I think for many people this will be the sort of
This one's cool, guys.
the model which fires your imagination.
Oh.
The Raven Guard have a new
Oh.
chapter master.
Absolutely love
They
this
gave
guy.
him a
So the new
base.
chapter master of the Raven Guard. And you might be saying, Eddie, they already have a chapter master. What happened to Shrike? Shrike has led the Raven Guard for some years, but has decided
They
that
gave
actually
him
his
a
place
base.
is better
Wow.
in the shadows as the captain of stealth assaults, and he has left Etheon Shan to lead the Raven Guard as their
Okay,
figurehead
that's
and their
cool.
commander. And the miniature is absolutely phenomenal. We very recently had Logan Grimnar released. I think only this last weekend, and this continues the tradition of having. Just
I like
an
the
absolutely
guns with
phenomenally
wings.
Cool looking.
They're not
chapter
even
master
like
miniature.
servo
he's
skulls. They're just
redolent in
they're
sort of
big.
the
They
imagery
kind
of
of
the
are, but
Raven
they're
Guard,
guns with
chapter you'd
wings.
Expect to see there's those sort of tassels that sort of dangle from him with the sort of secret runic script of deliverance. He's got feathers and fetishes.
Look at those
and
claws.
He's got 3 head options. Aethon Shan is a.
I like the cowl the
really
best.
Just tremendous centerpiece model, and I think the Raven Guard fans out there are going to be delighted by what he presents.
Yeah, I don't like the hair, but I love
and
the
there's one more.
cowl.
Sabodin Khan. He is the first captain of the White Scars chapter. So he leads its first company on this just mighty-looking grav bike. It's
Dude, I
got
like the bike.
A Gatling cannon mounted into the front. He's just the
It looks kind of
perfect
Towish.
embodiment of that White Scars hero huntsman archetype.
Yeah, it's very, very.
I don't know
cool.
if it's just
There's
me,
all
the
sorts of
bike looks a
beautiful,
little more
Chigorian
Towish than I
details
was
on
like
there.
than I
You
would
can see the kind of
expect.
pattern on the front of the jet bike is very reminiscent of some of their Heresy era designs on their dreadnoughts and things like that. We've got the model with us in a second. We're going to have a kind of look at it.
No,
but,
I'm not saying
there's
that the
some
Tau
beautiful
have bikes.
detail on
I'm
the back.
saying
You've got kind of Chigorian
the way
shields
it's
and sheaths
designed,
and,
it could just be the
decapitated
white
enemy
paint.
heads and stuff like
It
that.
just
It's
reminds
the
me
most
of the
White
Tau.
Scars looking thing you've ever seen. It fits beautifully in an army if you've got lots of outriders and fast.
I think it's the sensors at the
It's been
top that
quite a
makes
long
it
wait
like.
for the White Scars
Yeah,
to have a
absolutely.
character
I don't know.
bike
It
and
just
character
reminds
design
me
You
of
have
that.
the
I'm
walk
just
down,
this is
so
commentary. I'm not saying
really beautiful.
it's true.
how do I get my hands on these? You say
It looks like a brick, I won't lie, yes.
There's a series of combat patrols coming out. Listen carefully and I'll explain the one piece of nuance to this. Sabodin Khan is in the White Scars combat patrol. You see it here. It's 3 Outrider bikes and
So are the other ones you can buy individually?
And Sabodin Khan. He will be available separately not that long after the release of this combat patrol.
Okay,
He's
good.
the only one of these new heroes that comes inside a combat patrol.
Okay, that's
The
nice.
others
I was like, bro, if it's going to be in a combat patrol forever, that's really
available
lame.
separately. But here are the combat patrols that come out with them. So you have an Imperial Fist combat patrol, just full of heavily armored Imperial Fist troops.
Heavily
You've
armored
got,
boys.
Terminators.
Man, they just
and a
look
command
so,
group,
like,
and it just looks wonderful.
basic.
Next up, Iron Hands, heavy intercessors, heavy weapons, everything you might expect from these tough, durable warriors of the Iron Hands chapter. The Raven Guard. Bit more,
Fast and Phobos.
yeah, fast.
That's
That's good. I like that. That was strong. Yeah, they're going to get in amongst it much faster. Imagine Aethon Shan leading those. It'll be tremendous. But what if you just want to carry all the flames all the time?
Yeah.
Every model in this entire combat patrol has something that makes you hotter.
Either a melter gun or a flamethrower
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form.
I think there's some assault intercessors who maybe ruin my attempt
Oh,
at
no.
connecting it. But do you know what?
never mind.
That is a lot of flamer and or melter, and I think you can excuse us.
Some new transfers in those kits as well. Adam, I know
Yeah,
you were a very
no,
big
you've
fan of
just-
that when we were
you've
looking
just,
through.
hit
kits.
on my like secret nerd part of Warhammer. I get really excited by transfer sheets. I can't
think
do
it's a
freehand to save
secret.
My life, but I can stick
You
a decal
straight
on
up
with the
said
best
it
of
more
them.
than once, man.
Each of these will come with its own transfer sheet, which means that you can apply all the details of the heraldry and everything. And there's loads of cool extras on those. Case in point, the Imperial Fist one has some decals that do Crimson Fists. So if you were a fan of the Crimson Fists successors, then you can fill your boots. We'll show you those ahead of time so you can sort of plan your purchases and your painting experiences as we get closer to these.
Yeah,
Shall we have a look at the models.
Yeah, I've got some of the miniatures right here. We've got some kind of classic stuff, so you can see the scale of them, and we've also got some of the new miniatures. So if we start off over here with
Oh,
the
there we go.
Raven Guard side, I brought along a assault
Regular
intercessor
Okay.
sergeant. It's not a small model by any stretch of the imagination, but you sort of get a sense of how big the new chapter master of the Raven Guard is there. He is on a big base. He's going to be quite an intimidating character. He's certainly going to be the largest of your infantry models.
Yeah, no,
Probably
he's really cool.
standing
I
not
like
far
him.
off the height of a Redemptor Dreadnought at the top of his base there.
Yeah, what's interesting is you may have a tactical rock to sort of raise him up a little, but Darneth Lysander is such a brute that he's not that much shorter than either of the two models you just mentioned. He really is very dominating. And then Sabodin Khan next to an Outrider. First of all, check out the sort of similarities between the stylings, the sort of the shape of the bike, very sort of reminiscent of the things that you see on the Outrider. But if you spin it round, check out some of the details.
Oh,
many
yeah, we didn't get to
lovely
see this
details on
back.
I
Oh, the
really like
shield.
the shield. There's some sheaths. There's some extra weapons. There's like as well as having loads of lovely detail. There's also loads of space if you want to do some like Chigorian freehand or something like that.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's going to be up there with the Golden Demons and things, so that where people choose
It's
the
yes,
models.
it's exciting to see what people do with it. So there we are, Space Marine characters.
Surely that's all the Space Marine we have time for.
So you say that, but there is a little bit more Space Marine on the way. This one's really exciting for me because I got to help a little bit on the team that have brought this to life. I am over the moon to
What?
present the first ever officially licensed wearable Space Marine helmet.
Now you
This
won't
is
be able
the,
to build your
Lieutenant
own.
Titus Mark 10 helmet made by JoyToy. If you've not heard of JoyToy, where have you been hiding? JoyToy
Dang.
make beautiful action figures.
But guess
under
what?
license
If you
from
try
Games
to sell
Workshop.
your own
They
helmet,
do
they're gonna
Warhammer
like
40,000
axe
ones,
you
and
into
they
the
do Warhammer Age
ground.
of Sigma ones, and they do Warhammer the Horus Heresy ones, and now they have made this incredible helmet. It's just really something, and I can talk about some of its features.
Is it functional?
Inside, it's got an adjustable sort of headband.
It
so
looks like you
change
can
it to
wear
fit
it.
Your head. What
And
that
it
means
looks
is
like
that
it has
unless you've got the
lenses you can
teeniest,
see
tiniest
out
of
of.
heads, like a small child or a grot, you should be able to make it fit. I have the most preposterous, like, potato head
I
imaginable.
think I'm going to say what everyone is thinking, which is just put it on. Adam.
Yeah,
Just
I
give it a
will.
look like.
But before I do, so this is the prototype
No.
that we've been.
Let's
sort of
talk more
working with
show.
them, on. And before I do, I'm going to flip a switch because we're under very bright studio lights. But inside, can you see the illuminated? A little bit. There's some really great pictures that you'll be able to see later. But I feel like a Space Marine already. This is just
I feel like I'm
the
standing
best.
next to a Space Marine. It's incredible.
I mean, it's never felt so good to feel like Lieutenant Titus. So the lenses inside
I
illuminate.
do feel like it's a ploy.
You
It's
can
like
buy
death
it
to
with this
DIY
lovely
cosplay.
display
I
stand as
kind
well.
of
This is the
agree,
Mark and
man.
helmet stand. It looks like something straight out of a battle barge or a Fortress Monastery cell where a Space Marine might put his war gear when he's finished on campaign. It's your choice whether you want to get the helmet separately or with that, but I've had this in my office for quite a while and it looks really
Yeah,
cool.
see, there it is. A Patreon maker I'm
when can
subscribed
you
to
get your
got a
hands
cease
on it, I
order
guess
for their
is the
wearable
question.
helmets
When
2
can I get my
days
hands on it,
ago.
Adam?
I'm glad you asked. The answer is
Exactly.
when this preview show is done, the pre-orders begin. So you'll be able to go to warhammermerch.com.
If you cosplay, you have to do it
and,
through GW now.
pre-order
That's
it.
what it's
So,
going to be.
Yeah,
No, I
I'm
think it's just
over the
available
moon to see
for
this
Titus.
in the flesh, in real world.
Titus.
Very, very exciting. We're still not done with Warhammer 40,000. We need to go to Kill Team to the Kill Team.
Yeah, you'd have to make your own pretty much. Oh. Okay, okay.
So, an amazing,
cool.
amazing
I
new
like
box for Kill
these.
Team, a new expansion, 2 brand new kill teams, a new kill zone, some incredible miniatures. Let's take a look. This is Kill Team Tomb World, and you get absolutely loads in this box.
It's just bursting with cool
This
stuff, right?
might be the best Kill Team box we've released. It's
bold
way up
claim,
there.
and I
isn't it?
struggle
It's
to
up there.
argue.
It's up there. There's some beautiful stuff in here. I mean, if we talk about the battlefield first, you've got some absolutely amazing Necron scenery.
It is kinda cool.
Like the Into the Dark scenery we saw
Yeah, absolutely.
a little while back, and certainly allows you to play games in that same sort of style. Doesn't replace it necessarily, but allows you to play that kind of close,
I
confined,
like the coffins with the
up-close battles.
Necrons on the side.
Really
That's, I think,
thematic.
my
You've got
favorite
the kind
part.
of undead Necron crypts as the warriors wake from their eons-long slumber. But the kill teams themselves are probably where the real excitement is. So if we start off with the Deathwatch kill team, this is the return of the original kill team. The name kill team itself comes from the concept of Deathwatch, and they have come out with an amazing new range of miniatures. There are 10 of these guys in the box. You can build them in a whole range of
like
different
these
ways. And there are
guys.
some lovely features. Adam, have you got any favourites from the
I mean,
mix there?
for me, I'm all about the big firepower, right? So, sort of bottom right, you have a Flesh Terrier holding a frag cannon, because that's the best way to greet the Xenos, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong. I called him out as a Flesh Terrier because I happen to know he is. One of the things that's really striking about this set is that there's loads of different heraldic devices.
He's got little
available.
teeth.
Quite
Teethers.
obscure chapters as well.
Yeah, I mean,
You
so
can
Flesh
see-
Terriers are perhaps not obscure, but they're
See his
not
little
necessarily what you
teethers.
might expect. For example, top center, that's a member of the Wolf Spears, which is one of the few successors to the Space Wolves chapter. You've got an Ultramarine on the right-hand side. The crossed swords on the one bottom left, I think, is probably making him a Guardian of the Covenant.
I think you might be right. You might be right.
And as a Dark Angels collector, that's quite exciting.
We had a fun game earlier on where we tried to guess all the different chapters.
Yeah.
A red scorpion in there as well. You can't quite make him out, but
There's 5 more that you can see here. So if you see any that are a chapter that you're interested in, shout them out in the chat. I think the top of the
can't
guys are
see,
gonna get
like,
some
half of
attention, 'cause
them.
There's a lot of fans for those guys. Loads of options, loads of different
they're kinda
specializations
neat.
for your kill team to be built with. They really are the personification of pick the right weapon for the job when you start your game.
And when you play kill team, the way that this, any kill team works is that you have a roster of different warriors, and then you can choose the ones you want before your game starts. You get 10 models in this box to make your kill team. You've got loads of different options, and then you choose before each game. Your kill team in game will be 5 of those warriors, and you can pick any 5 you want.
I mean, check it out with the underslung grenade launcher and all of the grenades just in the harness.
It's great to see a mix of Gravis and Phobos and Tacticus as well. So that's a Gravis, effectively a heavy intercessor archetype, but he's even more upgunned than you might expect a normal heavy intercessor to be, which have already got quite big guns. In game terms, the Deathwatch have got all sorts of specialist Xenos killing kit, but one of their things is effectively in each turning point you can choose one of them to use a special piece of ammunition, and you can basically pick a special rule for that gun to have, so it can be blast or precision or extra AP or something like that. So that a kind of quite long-standing concept of them having the ammunition to do exactly the job you need them to do makes its way into Kill Team, as well as them just being pretty good all-round Space
The
Marine.
other team's gonna be
Absolutely.
Necrons.
But they're not the only thing in the kit.
It's not
although you might
Geomancer.
Excuse our enthusiasm for thinking.
He's
so.
got a chin.
There's also the Canoptic Circle. These are the Necron guardians of this tomb complex. Essentially, their job has been to oversee the reanimation protocols of all of the Necrons that you see in these alcoves. We'll
Little
show you some more of the
scarabs.
terrain in a bit. And so these are the sentinels that are ready to now sort of attack the interlopers.
Yeah, and they were just going about their business, waking up all the Necrons, and all of a sudden this very rude kill team of Deathwatch burst into their crypt and decided to start wrecking up the place.
No,
So they
I
had
think
to,
they're being very polite.
mobilize against them. It is a very powerful kill team. This is the Canoptic Circle. It is led by a Geomancer, which is a type of cryptech. That's the model you can see there. She is the leader of the warband, and she definitely kind of is the core of the force, right? So,
and she's big and powerful.
she's
right?
big and powerful. Yeah, she alone can take on a Space Marine, but the other troops in her force,
She's got a big chin.
Need her to kind of be at the center to kind of.
Oh,
coordinate
I'm
the
sorry. I
efforts.
was looking
You've
at the
got a few different
scarabs
other
quite
models
lovingly.
in the mix there as well. As the Geomancer, you have
Here.
remind me of the names of these.
The
There, I
larger
pet
thing
them.
on the left-hand
like them.
side with
They're
the,
very
the
cute.
guns on the top is the tomb crawler.
Yep.
Then sort of the right hand, and there's another one sort of central to the right-hand side. Then the smaller things, they are your reanimators or your warriors. So normally, day to day, they'd just be pooling around, making sure everything's safe and well. They'd be reanimating some Necrons, but you know when the Deathwatch come knocking, they leap into action.
Yeah, the crawlers have got some particularly formidable weaponry, right? So like they're up against the Deathwatch kill team. So the guns on those can take out a Space Marine if they get a good solid round of firepower. They are one of the. You've got your kind of central character, which does all the kind of utility stuff. Then you've got two really good solid gun platforms, and then you've got the rest of the force, which whizzes around and does the objective taking stuff. So it's a really flexible little kill team. Also worth pointing out.
Yeah, I don't have
that the
much to
box
say
has
on
a bunch of
Necrons.
Necron warriors.
Yep.
Why does
Big
it have a bunch
chin,
of Necron warriors? You might ask,
scarabs.
they're
I
not in
like.
the kill team. Well, one of the other things that you get inside this box is rules for playing basically co-op missions where you both play as Deathwatch and you're up against hordes, undying hordes of Necron warriors. As they
joint operations is super fun, and
okay.
the chance to do this as a Deathwatch kill team, sort of stalking around a Necron, awakening Necron tomb complexes.
I don't need a
almost
scarab
too appealing
plushie.
to
It's
say no.
fine.
And just
That's
a great
very
other way of playing
heretical.
the game.
I'm going to totally jump on it. Have a look around this board, and you can see in some of those alcoves there are those reanimating Necrons and stuff.
And there's like weird portals.
I do
and
like
glyphs.
this terrain. I'm a huge fan of it.
Imagery. There's fallen masonry. You can imagine they've been asleep for so long that seismic events, whatever, of course, needs to fall down. Plus, and or maybe the wolf spear hitting everything with his hammer. Yeah, this is going to be just peak Warhammer adventures in a tomb complex. I love it.
And of course, both of these kill teams will be usable in Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
There'll be a way to use your Deathwatch in that game as well, and your new Necrons. And of course, there is a new book, a new dossier that comes with this, which has all the rules you need to play these in your games of kill team.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of them in the flesh. Oh, it comes in a box. There you go. Let's have a look at some of these in the flesh. In particular, it'd be good to get the Geomancer in because that gives a sense of the scale. So my favourite with the frag cannon.
Oops,
But when you
sorry,
put the
bonk ya.
Geomancer in here, square it off. There we go. So there's some like narrative around the events here, which is quite cool. We were having a read. So when we learned that the Geomancer was in fact a
Yeah, I
lady.
really like these minis.
If you haven't already twigged yet, this is a raptor. This guy, check him out. So you get a nice mix of scale from obviously the Geomancer and the reanimators on the sides. Loads of stuff.
I
to
have a
feed
servo
from.
skull. Servo
This is
skulls
going to
are
be
the
a very
best.
Exciting time for Kill Team. I think the Deathwatch are very popular with lots of fans, and they're so iconic within the concept of Kill Team.
I think wouldn't be an exaggeration to say the most requested kill team, since the concept of kill team was sort of re-emerged into the consciousness.
Absolutely. Right. I think we've done it.
I think we've done it.
We're around the 90-minute mark. I did say it would be a long one, but we've shown you all of our Warhammer previews.
Oh,
We should go to question corner. That was a good prompt. Well done. Simon, there's probably a question or three, right?
There's quite a few. Yeah. Do you want some rapid
not
fire
bad
ones to get you
overall.
going?
I was
Yeah,
just
let's see what we can
expecting
do.
a little
We're over
more
12.
for like the
Okay, let's
end,
go.
like a big
So start
oomph.
off, Old World. Are the new Tomb King minis resin or plastic?
They are plastic.
Multi-part plastic kits. Definitely said it.
Let's go with the Kill Team Tomb World. Is the new Necron terrain similar in dimension to the Gallowdark terrain?
It is similar.
yeah.
I don't think it's exactly the same.
Yeah, Gallo Dark would be a good reference point.
So we've got Warhammer Underworlds. Will the new warbands or any of the re-released Grand Alliance warbands be receiving rules to use them in Warhammer Age of Sigmar?
I believe you can use all of them in Age of Sigmar, can't you? I don't want to. You certainly.
Well,
I'm not going to commit. There you go. Show my face as a face of non-committal.
One thing that is worth saying is that quite a lot of the new battle tomes have a place.
We don't
for
need more.
Warhammer
My
Underworld
wallet's already
warbands as
crying.
Generic.
That's just me. I don't know.
The
It was
Goose
still
Buckets, For
good.
example, you've got a place for the wolves.
I think that's a more comprehensive answer.
That's
Eddie,
probably
your
the place that you'll find them going forwards.
That's fair. The Hellsmiths are going into Warcraft. We said that already. We have said that already.
Yeah.
Well done us.
So
been a long night.
the Adeptus Astartes ones we've just seen. Does Subadin Khan have a helmeted option?
He does have a helmeted option.
Very cool.
Although I think
Safety first.
any adherence to health and safety would be an absolute abomination when you're riding free in the wind.
You
like the
might
White
be
Scouts.
riding.
Yeah, it felt
in
very front-loaded.
a vacuum. At
No,
which point
no,
you're probably
just
allowed.
hold your breath.
Just.
Get on with it. Yeah.
Okay,
they got
cool.
reinforced
There you go.
skulls. I'm sure they'll be fine. So where can we expect to see the lore and rules for the shiny new characters?
That is a great question.
good question.
The rules will be available online.
So some of the rules, if the character is being re-released, already exist
Yeah,
in
that's
Codex
true.
Space Marine.
So Darnath, Lysander,
yeah,
covered off
Vulcan and
already.
Lysander are already there. The other rules will be available online.
And I'm really glad you asked about the lore because I know a thing. Phil Kelly from the Warhammer 40,000 lore team came and had a chat with me, and they've written full background for each of these characters and narrative stories, which we'll be hosting on Warhammer Community in the week leading up to their release when that happens.
Oh, okay, I'll
I'm
read
super
those.
excited, 'cause I don't know anything about Aethon Shan, and I want to learn his story. So yes, there we go.
Awesome. So we've got two more quick ones if we can. So the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness. Are some of the Wargate options that are currently no longer available to certain units ever going to be revisited?
So that's a good question. So we do know that there will be more things released in plastic across the course of this edition. With some of those plastic kits, you may see war gear options returning that have previously been available. You might also see some war gear options that have never existed before added to those units. So hopefully that answers some of the question.
Yeah, Grant. One last one was on the scouring. How many books can we expect to see in the series?
At least one, because it's got the number 1 on the side of it. I don't want to steal the thunder of any future sort of news from Black Library other than to announce it today. But what they have told us, and it was one of the best conversations of my professional life ever to sit down with the editing team from Black Library as they sort of poured the scouring lore into my open brain, was this is a multi-book, multi-author series, and so you're going to be following it for some years to come.
Grant.
There we go.
Some years.
There's bazillions more questions
I
that
cannot
I couldn't
wait
possibly get
for
to.
20 more
Scrolling
years
past so
of
quick is all I
books.
could do to find the ones I got. But yeah, thanks.
That's great. What remains, I guess, at this point in the juncture is, first of all, to thank all of you for tuning in.
I really thought
and
they'd do
spending
Drukhari.
90 minutes of brilliant Warhammer fun with us. I've really enjoyed myself.
I had a great time. I always have a great time.
Awesome. There's some general housekeeping to do. If you've missed anything in this and you want to know more, go to warhammercommunity.com. Read the articles that are there on the website. There's pictures. There's more information than Eddie and I would have remembered to tell you. And you can watch the videos
Yeah,
back
they
as well.
definitely have to do
If you are
Drukhari
looking
next
for
time.
more
Like, I don't
Warhammer
know
excitement
how
right now in your life,
they
we're going to
didn't.
throw back to Tacoma, where there's Warhammer 40,000 tournament taking place, I believe, right now is what we're going back to. So you can hang around here, especially on the Twitch channel. I believe that is true. What else is there to say? The helmet. Go and find it on warhammermerch.com.
I'm not going to get that. That looks very cheap.
Brilliant. Right. Thank you, Simon, for asking questions. Thanks to the crew here who've made it all work. Eddie, it's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
We can't wait to see you again next time. Take care.
Alrighty then. That was the previews. Not too bad overall. I felt like that was solid. I was expecting more for Horus Heresy. I know, I thought they were gonna do Custodes, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more, but it is what it is. You can't win it all. Yeah, no Astra Militarum. It just was a lot of cool stuff at the beginning, but not that Warhammer 40k gets completely shafted, but we did have some cool Necrons and cool... We had some cool stuff. Make time move forward? That it doesn't work that way. I can't just make time move forward, and I don't necessarily want to do that. Yeah, one faction at a time, except Space Marines. That's true. Well, I still worry. I mean, perhaps it's just because you can't make a helmet that fits everyone. But if you notice the way the helmet sat on his head, it, like, you could still see, like, a huge chunk of his neck. Just because it's, like, so, like, outrageously large. I don't know. I'm just being picky. I also worry about what it means for, like, cosplayers in the future. I mean, you're just gonna have to design your own stuff. Like, if you don't know how to design your own helmets or your armor, like I'm one of those people, then it's like, well, what are you gonna do? So, it's just unfortunate. So yeah, we'll probably see Custodes, Drukari. We'll definitely see all that later. Yeah, fan-made helmets have more heart in it anyways. I agree, I agree. Yeah, I don't worry. I wanted Custodians too. They were teasing the spears, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to see it. Nope. But that's just me being picky. I'm just being picky, so I fully recognize I'm being very picky. But yeah. In any case, we are going to do a quick raid. I have got to go because it is the middle of the day and I've had part of lunch and I would like to eat. I'm happy to talk about this more on Saturday or even Sunday. We are playing Shoota's Blood and Teeth with my friend Auri on Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and then I'm going back to playing more Dawn of War Dark Crusade on Sunday. So it'll be fun. So we'll talk more about this, and I'll have more concrete thoughts when I get to look at all of the pictures, instead of having to just react to it right here. So we are going to, on the Twitch side, I don't know if he is on YouTube, so I'll have to look. We are going to raid into Zoran. Looks like he's playing Space Marine, so it makes the most sense to... I think he was probably watching the previews as well, so we'll probably just raid into him. See if we can raid in from YouTube. I don't know if he streams on YouTube. I don't think he does. In any case, we'll just raid on the Twitch side. Thank you everyone for joining. Join the Discord if you want to talk more about this fun stuff, and I will see you later this weekend. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Don't skip leg.